You see an old man standing here, trying to help his fellow man. A little gray around the edges, coffee cup held in his hand. You hear me talk about kindness, you hear me talk about grace, but you don't know the battle wounds that are written on my face. Everybody sees the ending, but they never saw the storm. The little boy that learned too early, this world can be cruel and torn. Don't mistake my peace for a life without pain. I had every reason to become the same. You really don't want the prequel of my story, the chapters before these pages turn. I walked through a darkness no child should ever learn, but evil didn't own me, and hatred didn't win. I chose another pathway instead of giving in. You broke the boy, but you didn't break the man. And by the grace of God, I'm still standing where I am. I know what monsters look like, I've seen the damage they can do. That's why I fight so hard today to protect the innocent and true. That's why I share their pictures, that's why I speak their names, because every child is sacred, and no child should wear those chains. I know how silence grows and how predators survive, so I'll keep my eyes wide open as long as I'm alive. Don't mistake my peace for a life without battles. I know what darkness builds when good men stay quiet. You really don't want the prequel of my story, oh, the chapters before these pages turn. Oh, I walked through a darkness no child should ever learn, but evil didn't own me, and hatred didn't win. I chose another pathway instead of giving in. You broke the boy, hey, but you didn't break the man. And by the grace of God, I'm still standing where I am. I am not kind because life was kind to me. I am kind because I know what happens when pain is left unchecked. I know what darkness can create if we don't choose another path. So I choose to protect, I choose to speak, I choose to love, I choose to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. You really don't want the prequel of my story, but maybe that's the reason I'm here, to make sure another child never has to carry that fear. My past may explain me, but it will never own me, because evil met a child once, and decades later it found a man who refused to become it. You broke the boy, but you didn't break the man, and you never turned him into you. lit up. Before everybody stopped talking and forgot how to show up. There was a place every weekend where the lights would come alive. You didn't have to be somebody, you just had to arrive. Popcorn in the air, leather skates on the floor, laughter bouncing off the walls, and music through the door. The DJ dropped that bass line, and every worry disappeared. For a few little hours, life became clear. The groove was the glue that held us all together. Black and white, hippies and farmers, didn't matter whatsoever. Nobody came to be seen, everybody came to belong. The groove was the glue, and somehow we all got along. Hey, hand-me-down jeans and plain white t-shirts, church kids dressed up neat, the talented skaters helping newcomers, everybody sharing the beat. The girls would laugh, the boys would dance, nobody cared about being cool. For a few little hours every weekend, that skating rink became our school. We learned kindness, we learned patience, we learned how to share the floor. And somehow life felt bigger, about wanting less and giving more. There weren't any followers, there weren't any likes, there were just real people living real lives. The DJ dimmed the lights for the last 3 songs, and somehow for a little while everything belonged. Was the glue that held us all together. Nobody trying to be famous, nobody chasing forever. Nobody came to be seen, everybody came to belong. And every time I hear that funk, that old world still lives on. The groove was the glue, the groove was the glue. For a few little hours, everything was where it belonged. Sometimes I think we weren't skating in circles, we were building a community, one song at a time.
Yeah. My buddy said, take just one. They're homemade, son, they're strong. I looked at that little square and laughed, said, how bad could this go wrong? 20 minutes came and went. I said, this ain't no fun. So I reached right back into the pan and accidentally doubled down. 30 minutes later, the room began to sway. I looked over at my old hound dog, he looked at me like prey. I called 911 on a pot brownie, thought my boots were glued right to the ground. I told the lady, ma'am, I think time has stopped, and my heartbeat's making funny sounds. She said, sir, just breathe, you're gonna be okay. We've heard this story more than once today. Turn Turns out I wasn't leaving Earth at all. I just underestimated that brownie, y'all. The ceiling fan was telling jokes, the coffee pot looked wise. I apologized to my recliner for believing all its lies. The dog looked completely normal, which somehow made it worse. I started bargaining with Jesus over homemade dessert. I called 911 on a pot brownie. Thought the moon was parked outside. I asked the dispatcher, be honest now, did I somehow forget to die? She chuckled just enough to say, sir, I promise you'll see another day. Drink some water, find your couch, and maybe skip dessert from now on out. Now every family gathering, when brownies hit the plate, somebody always points at me and says, remember, wait. I smile and raise my coffee cup, 'cause patience is the key. The only thing that almost got me was my own curiosity. Don't call 911 on a pot brownie just because it's taken way too long. You can't rush a homemade edible, even when you think it's doing wrong. Take it slow, let time do what it does. There's no prize for eating too, because the funniest stories usually begin with somebody saying, these brownies ain't kicked in. Public service announcement from a guy who learned the hard way. If your buddy says, only eat one, he's probably trying to save you from becoming the next family legend.
Have you or someone you know been diagnosed with TDS? The symptoms can be relentless. Fortunately, I'm Dr. Trump, and I have a treatment plan. Let's hear what some of my patients have to say.
I have been suffering for over a decade, and after listening to Dr. Trump, I can see some results.
Man, I've been suffering for years. I really didn't believe that was help out there. That was when I came across this video on TV.
I really thought I was a lost cause. This was going to affect me for the rest of my life. But after using the treatment plan, I can see a difference.
I really wasn't sure I could help some of these people. They were so far gone, I wasn't really sure.
I had no idea how much this was affecting my life. My work is slowed down. I'm hardly recognizable anymore. I just needed help. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. Constantly angry. I made everyone miserable around me.
I feel like I've aged 20 years in the last 2 years. I've been so concerned. I was really starting to worry about my future.
The treatment is simple. Turn off fake news. Say your prayers, and if you ever feel anxious, just have a Diet Coke like me, and you're going to see a remarkable difference in your life.
Oh boy, what a way to start it, right? What a way to start off the day.
Have you or someone you know been diagnosed?
Yeah, what a way to start it off, right? All right, let's get up here to the top and click over to. Oh, she did a second one. Oh, that's on her show. We're not going to worry about her show, but let's go here. Good morning. Let's start off there. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody is having a good day. It's a little bit, it's a little bright out there. I got to tone that down a little bit. There we go. Okay. That'll do good for now. Yeah. So good morning. I hope everybody's having a good day. I see some of you got a bunch of little projects and stuff going on, and that's a good thing. How do we deal with the immigrant and black fatigue? That's a good question. I make fun of it. I try to make fun of it as much as I can because of the fact that sitting in anger and welling, that emotion welling up inside is just it's all consuming, and it's really not worth it. So we have to make sure that we do what's best for us. I actually did a couple of songs up for today, and I'll be sharing them throughout the podcast today. But started going through the news yesterday after I got done. Now, yesterday I wasn't on because Jake, the guy who delivers water over here to me and stuff, he came by really early in the morning. We got started. We were working at 5:30 yesterday morning, so that's kind of the day that we had. I had a couple of break periods where he had to go off and do a couple of things, and he didn't want me running the remote control stuff while he was gone, just in case something happened to it. He wanted to be here to repair it right away. And it's kind of cool. He's got a lawnmower that's remote controlled, and this thing, that one and the machine next to it was we call it a brush hog. So it'll cut things up to like an inch and a half to an inch and 3/4 thick. That's how strong the blades are on it. And we actually cleared an entire acre and a half yesterday. Seeing ground for the first time there in the 7 years that I've been out here. First time we've been able to actually see the ground. What is kind of shocking to me is that the area is not a bedrock spot like the rest of the farm is. This is there's some pretty rich soil there, so I'll be trying to figure out what to do with that section of land next year. This year it's a little bit late to really get anything going. We're looking at the beginning of July already, so yeah, it's kind of crazy. Watt's got the they live glasses on. We're all in trouble. He's now going to know that we're all robots. Damn. We were trying to slip it past you, Watts. We were trying to slip it past you. All right. You weren't supposed to get the glasses. Where's Roddy Piper when we need him? We need him to go and retract them glasses back. Yeah. But yeah. So we got a lot of work done. And then I got a call this morning. My fuel guy is going to be going out of town. Where is he going? He's flying to Washington, D.C. to go and enjoy the Freedom 250 live. He RSVP'd him, his wife, his two daughters, and I believe he said his uncle or his nephew. Some other family members are going to be going. So I've got to try and get fuel squared away today. And anything else that I need, because he's going to be gone until Wednesday of next week. And I don't have anybody else out here to run runs for me. So for those of you that want to donate today, I would appreciate it. That's where it'll go towards getting stocked up for the 4th of July weekend. Let's jump into the news because we've got a bunch of it. We probably got about an hour and a half to maybe 2.5 hours worth of stuff to go through. So we're going to jump through it. Pete Hegseth's first thing this morning, and this is not a guy you want to have pissed off first thing in the morning. And I love how he manipulated this situation to prove his point 100%. I think that this was a very strategic move done at the right time, the right place, with the right organizations in front of them. And what do I mean by those organizations? I'm talking about every single media organization that was there for this press conference. Let's get started. Here we go.
No matter what. In fact, this background noise this morning is perfect. It's the sound of ingrates, of ingratitude, of people who are so blinded by ideology they can't see law and order and common sense in front of them. That there's nothing ideological about this group. There's nothing political about this exercise. Law and order is something all Americans deserve. Black, white, rich, poor, man or woman from D.C. or far-flung places in this country. And the beautiful thing is when I look out at this group, that's all of you. From all across this great country. You're not from Washington, most of you, but this is your capital. And you believe in this 250th year that it should be safe and it should be secure for every single citizen that lives here and every single citizen that comes to visit in this 250th year.
Yeah. So he made his point. Ingrates. Let's go here. Tim Walz is in deep pooper.
New accusations against top officials in Sanctuary State, Minnesota, over protecting an illegal immigrant convicted of repeatedly sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl. It's a hard story to talk about and to read about, but it happened and we need to tell you. Homeland Security accusing Governor Tim Walz of granting a pardon, effectively just wiping away his criminal record to help shield the man from a final order of deportation.
So Brooke Taylor is on that. She joins us now for more. And Brooke, what did you find out? Good morning.
Hi, Bill. Good morning. Well, Governor Tim Walz facing major backlash for this. So he sits on the board that pardoned this convicted child sex offender as he was just about to be deported. So back in 2006, Tao Lee Vang right here, he was convicted of repeatedly sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl in Minnesota. He pleaded guilty in a deal that kept him out of prison. DHS says that conviction cost him his legal status and made him deportable. Well, the details in these court documents, they're too graphic for me to repeat to you on air, but it describes the abuse spanning 2 years from the time the victim was 10 to just 12 years old. The girl told investigators she met Vang through her older sister, who he later married. Investigators say he admitted, quote, "I made a mistake, but this is a minor thing. It's a cultural thing in Thailand to marry and have sex with girls as young as 12. He also told police that the young victim should be arrested too because she was, quote, as much at fault. Now, according to DHS, he received a deportation order after his conviction, but earlier this month, Minnesota's Board of Pardons voted to pardon him. Federal officials say this wipes away his conviction that made him removable and now could help him fight deportation. So the 3-member board includes Governor Tim Walz, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, and Chief Justice Natalie Hudson. DHS blasted the decision, saying in part, Governor Tim Walz's decision to pardon an illegal alien, convicted child rapist so he can remain in our country is disgusting. This pardon will take away the child rapist qualifying convictions that made him removable from the United States. Now, we reached out to all 3 board members, including Governor Walz, to ask why they decided to pardon this convicted child sex offender. We have not heard back, Bill.
Yeah, and you're not going to. They're not going to give you any answers. They're just going to keep playing their game. is what they're going to do. And Jolly Ginger just has to be stupid and run his mouth more. This guy, he's going to, I'm telling you right now, this Jolly Good Ginger is going to end up in prison before the end of this.
Nobody else see what I see. When you see this, do you not immediately see what I immediately saw the first time I seen this?
Yeah, it kind of looks a lot like that. The Great Seal of the United States of America, which Congress adopted in 1782 with, the golden eagle and the American flag emblem. And then when you put them side by side, wow, the resemblance is uncanny, almost like that is a representation of that, the Great Seal of the United States of America. Sure, this one has the wings stretched out a little bit. Yeah, but it looks a lot like the Great Seal of the United States of America.
Does nobody else see it, or am I just fucking tripping?
I mean, never mind the fact that Donald Trump was obviously trolling some people with that AI generated photo, because I don't know if you know this or not, but that's not real. No, that's not actually hanging anywhere on the White House. That is an AI enhanced photograph that Donald Trump posted, probably just to mess with a bunch of people who see Nazis everywhere they look. Weird. But you know what is real? The Totenkopf tattoo that's on Graham Plattner's chest. Graham Plattner, the darling of the radical left, who is now the Democrat candidate for the Senate seat in the state of Maine. That's real. Yeah. And when I saw that, I knew exactly what that was because I understand history. The Totenkopf tattoo is the exact same emblem that they used when they were protecting and guarding the concentration camps. Yeah, that's what we saw when we saw the Totenkopf tattoo on Graham Plattner's chest. And yet, for some reason, the people who are very upset about the Great Seal of the United States of America, thinking that it has something to do with Nazis, are perfectly okay with actual Nazi tattoos on their candidates.
Yeah, Patriot Dad EV 2.0. He's right. He's 100% correct. And it was an AI generated picture that set him off. That's why I'm telling you, this is, with everything that Jolly Ginger has been doing, and admitting that he is a member of Antifa, that he's in charge of the Veterans Division of Antifa, should make people very aware. I would get away from this guy as quickly as possible because I have a feeling that I see many, many years of prison in his future. Yep. Yeah. A pig's a pig, no matter how you look at it. All right, Marco Rubio.
The Department is now investigating Piker and Code Pink, who hosted his trip to Cuba. The feds are looking at funding for the trip, which some think is tied to the Chinese Communist Party. Also under scrutiny, American businessman and social activist Neville Roy Singham, who has donated to Code Pink in the past and has alleged ties to China through his business dealings. The investigation is looking at his trip, which involved as many as 40 American citizens who joined what is being called a Marxist convoy to Havana. The Trump administration wants to know if Piker and Code Pink violated U.S. laws and sanctions in support of Cuba's communist government. For now, nobody has been charged.
People have a right to be stupid and support socialism, okay? Despite all the things that you and I might say against that. What they don't have a right to is receive payment, and that is what the feds are investigating now. They haven't been charged with a crime. They're just checking if they have received any payment for the propaganda.
Piker says he has not yet received a subpoena from the U.S. government yet. Jillian?
All right, Lucas Tomlinson.
The Department is now investigating Piker and...
So this is going to be interesting to see where this goes, because Piker, he's kind of a troublesome kind of fella. Gets himself into way too many deep situations that are going to come back to bite him in the ass in the long run. Yep. And then there's this guy. Yeah. Oh, boy. This happened in North Carolina.
Police say just after 10 a.m., officers responded to a call about an armed person sitting in a truck in the church parking lot. A nearby off-duty officer, with the help of a backup, disarmed a man who they later identified as William Milliken III. They say he was wearing body armor and had 2 flamethrowers inside his truck at the time of his arrest.
That's very surprising. I'm amazed, but today's society that we're living in right now, and being a church, and the reason why they have police officers at every church function and other kinds of functions.
In addition to flamethrowers, investigators also found 2 crossbows, more than 500 rounds of ammunition, rolls of black duct tape, and 3 knives. He faces several charges, including possession of a weapon of mass destruction and impersonation of a law enforcement officer. Lee Barber says he's glad no one was hurt.
Last year we had a Volkswagen little van that caught on fire in the parking lot. So I thought maybe it was another thing like that, but no.
Seems like there's always a lot going on in the parking lot.
Always something going on in the parking lot.
Always something going on in the parking lot. In the parking lot. Oh boy. Yep. And then let's get into the human trafficking side for a minute. Here we go.
This morning, as part of our human trafficking task force with Homeland Security Investigations, IRS, and LAPD, we are announcing the arrest of 10 defendants who have either been indicted by a federal grand jury for trafficking or benefiting from sex trafficking of individuals in the Figueroa corridor. 7 of the defendants are related to our prior operation, Broken Blade, targeting the Hoover Street Gang. 2 of the defendants have been charged separately for sex trafficking, Kylan Young from the East Coast Crips and Dejon Williams from the Neighborhood Crips. Young trafficked a 15-year-old victim through violence. Williams trafficked a 16 and 17-year-old victims, as well as an adult through violence. A 10th individual, Kenny Ray Mann, also a sex trafficker who was trafficking 16 and 17-year-old girls, has been indicted, and he whipped, raped, and punched one of the victims in the case. This morning, as part of our human...
So this is, this stems from a raids that are going on all over California right now. I'm like really surprised to, how do I put this? I'm really surprised to see that we have not had public officials either from LA County, or the surrounding areas speaking up or speaking against this. It's like really, really quieted down. Now, why would that be? Why would they prefer to remain silent? Because the majority of these people that are getting busted are illegals. And there's such a sanctuary state, so on and so forth. So why aren't these politicians getting up on the TV and saying anything about these raids going on? Why aren't they talking about the fact of human trafficking? Now they're using massage parlors, recreational areas, parks, so on and so forth. That's what they're doing to these young, very young kids. I'm sorry, but a 13 or 14-year-old girl does not belong in a massage parlor. Doesn't. So stuff like this is important. All right. And then this is an interesting story that went on.
The president and vice president must be impeached, convicted, and removed.
Yes! Impeach, convict, remove! Impeach, convict, remove! Who do you serve? Who do you protect? 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 Who do you serve?
So this was his name.
The president and vice president
is U.S. Air Force Major Jason Watson. And as far as we know, he is active duty. He is active duty, protesting, active duty, calling for the commander-in-chief to be impeached and arrested and convicted. Yeah. Everything that happens to him is his own damn fault. And it's just enough is enough. All right. California state residents have had enough. They've had absolutely enough.
What do you work for? Who do you work for? Who do you work for? You work for us. Who do you work for us?
Residents of the small San Joaquin Valley city of Avenal, California, voted in April to recall the majority of their city council. But the city council members are refusing to leave office, saying that the recall vote was conducted unlawfully by the county when it should have been conducted by the city.
It is important for us to continue showing up. Enough is enough. This is not okay.
At a city council meeting on Thursday, tensions were high, and residents gave public comment that devolved into yelling and even police confrontation, although no one was arrested.
It's unfortunate that we do have community members who get very passionate about this issue. It's understandable because it's something near and dear to their heart. We're talking about our home. This is my home as well.
The movement of doing the recall was the first step in trying to gain accountability, holding leaders accountable for their actions.
Here's a little more background on this. The election targeted 4 of the 5 city council seats. These are the names of the people they targeted. Over 75% of voters approve recalling these 4 elected officials, but still they will not leave. The elected officials are saying that they don't have to leave because they're saying that the election was held wrong. They're arguing that the recall was conducted unlawfully by the Kings County elections instead of the city itself and lacked proper city authorization. So what they're saying is that they wanted to give approval for them to hold an election to recall them. Yeah, right. This is just garbage. And here is the proof of that. If you look at the actual rules in California, under California law, the recall was legal. And the reason why it was legal is because of these codes. And the office that it was held under is how the election should have been handled. The election was conducted by Kings County, the county elections official, which is a standard procedure for local recalls when the county doesn't handle it itself. So this election was 100% legal, and these people should be removed.
That's simple. And it is that simple, people paying attention. Scriptkeeper put this one up. Yeah, he said, warning.
Local parks are great during the day. At night, different story. I live in my vehicle and law enforcement is cracking down on people like me in cities across America. Camping overnight, illegal. Sleeping in your car, illegal. Existing without a fixed address in an increasing number of places, illegal. I'm strategic about where I park, but from time to time, I still get a knock on the door at 2 a.m. Why? Not because I'm dangerous, not because I'm a threat, because I don't pay property taxes. I don't pay rent. I don't pay a utility company. I don't pay a landlord. I removed myself from every system that depends on my compliance to function. They say this is the land of the free, but try living for free and see what happens. Local parks are great.
And that is a fair warning. That is a fair warning. Absolutely fair. All right. I need to take a minute. While I'm taking a minute, I'm going to give you, where is it? Right here. Here we go. This is the one I want. And I'll be right back with you.
I spend my life with calloused hands, building roads where others stand. Tried to leave this world better than I found, helping strangers when no one was around. I wore my failures like an old work coat, every tear, every scar, every word I wrote. Thought if I did enough before my final breath, maybe I'd outrun my own regret. But every mountain that I climb still left an empty place inside. You can't earn a gift, you can only receive it. Grace don't keep score, you just believe it. Love reached farther than I ever could climb. Mercy found me right on time. You can't earn a gift, you can only receive it. I remembered every wrong I'd done, the battles lost, the chances gone, the words I wished I'd never said, the nights those memories filled my head. Then I opened up that worn out book, read the pages I'd overlooked. It wasn't about the things I'd done, it was about God's only Son. The weight I'd carried all those years started washing away with tears. You can't earn a gift, you can only receive it. Grace don't keep score, you just believe it. Love reached farther than I ever could climb. Mercy found me right on time. You can't earn a gift, you can only receive it. I carry chains I forged myself, locked them tight upon the shelf. Thought I had one more debt to pay, one more burden every day. Then I heard those timeless words so clear, still echoing across the years. It is finished, not begin. The door was opened, come on in. You can't earn a gift, you can only receive it. Open your heart and simply believe it. Grace is greater than every fall. His faithful love can cover it all. The ground is level at the foot of the cross. Every soul is counted the cost. The shepherd still leaves the 99 to bring one wandering heart back home in time. You can't earn a gift, you can only receive it. That's why they call it grace. If you're still trying to earn what God already offers, stop carrying what Christ already carried. Open your heart. Receive the gift. Because a gift was never meant to be earned.
Because, you know, a gift is one thing. To earn something, that's what we do on a daily basis. We work to pay bills. We work to provide. We, whether it's the bills, utilities, food, whatever, that we earn. But see, because of our relationship with Christ, that's a gift. It's the reward for remaining faithful. It's a reward. It's a gift the gift of salvation comes through redemption, right? The redemption of sin leads to a closeness with Christ, and that's what guides us the rest of the way. So it's a gift. A lot of times I've seen people who've gotten or had bad accidents or had really bad health scares, and they said that there were 3 of them individually. They found themselves in one of the most beautiful rooms that they had ever seen. Small, not too big, but it was a classy kind of bedroom kind of setting. And they said that a man walked in and they knew right away that it was Jesus. And he handed them a gift. Now, in all 3 stories, none of them had opened the gift. None of them had opened the gift. They just had received a gift. And that's part of where this came from. But the song came from a conversation with someone who, who's pretty faithful, is struggles, but has been faithful. And it just having a hard time believing that he is worthy of being redeemed because of everything that he went through in his life. He holds that against himself. I do the same thing in many ways. In many ways. Not that it is a direction or a way of thinking that I want to have. It just happens. Our brain goes to particular things and tends to sometimes stick there. It's okay, girl. It's all right. Come here, Ben. Come here, Gwen. Good girl. Good girl. Go ahead, lay down and rest. Kool-Aid, that was you making all that noise, and I thought it was Guinevere. Yeah, she's doing good. Good mama. You're doing good. It's the idea that we think that we're not worthy continuously, and it can be a little burdensome. It can be a little heavy, because we get ourselves into that mode that we don't deserve it, and then that reflects into our daily life, and that can create some problems. That really can. It can create some serious problems. But the one I want to share with you next, okay, was started by one of our viewers, Bill Giles. I hope I pronounced that right, because I know that when I tried to create the image and I wanted his name emblazoned in it, that every time I tried to tell ChatGPT what I wanted it for the image, it kept coming back with like 4 or 5 different types of spellings for his name, and then finally I had to type it in order to get ChatGPT to create the image properly. And it's called Out of Balance. And so what it was Bill had written a short poem. Basically, what he did was he wrote the first verse of this song, and then I finished it, because I knew exactly the direction that he was going when he did this. And And I think he does not give himself enough credit as a writer. You know, and this is what I will say to Bill. Bill, if you're paying attention right now, if you're listening, I want you to understand that your inspiration for a song is a lot different than most of the people that I talk to and deal with in regards to writing a song. When you sent me your statement in regards to the uniform, I was able to take what you wrote and with just some, you know, proper editing and rewriting, I was able to convey your point. Okay. With this song here, I had to literally, because it was written so well, I literally had to include it because it was written that well. Just a couple of words might have been changed because of the flow of song and lyric. But you know, Bill, you do inspire me, and I have very few things in my life that inspire me. And I am glad that you are one of them. You are an amazing human being, and someday I hope to sit across a campfire and have a beautiful conversation with you. Your words touch inside. And it's not always inside the mind. You tap into emotion, you tap into the essence of being. And I love you for the inspiration that you have brought with your words through this period of time. Because honestly, I get it from a couple of people, but I don't get enough of it. To me, you are in the top 10 mustard seeds of all time. The top 10. And thank you. Here's this song.
When the world's walking backwards, it's hard to keep up. Greed is a hunger that can't get enough. The powers that be all seem so corrupt. The measure of a man measures not the right stuff. We don't need a hero to fix every IQ, or leaders who boast and then never come through. Promises made, promises broken, names of the children that never get spoken.
All we really need is a new tale to tell, a whole new balance to our old scale. A true story told, not just some fable. It's all in that Bible, just there on the table.
We're out of balance, we've drifted too far,
Trading our compass for the shine of a star.
You can't buy mercy, you can't fake grace.
You can't hide truth with a prettier face.
If we want tomorrow to be better than today,
It starts with the choices that we make.
one heart, one hand, one soul made able, finding our way back to that Bible on the table. The loudest voices don't always know best. Sometimes the strongest are the ones who confess. A helping hand reaches farther than pride, and love still walks where fear won't abide.
A neighbor's burden gets lighter to bear when somebody simply decides to care. The smallest kindness can carry a flame, changing a life that never knew your name.
Maybe the answer's been here all along, not hidden in anger, not buried in song.
Truth doesn't tremble when storms start to gather. It stands through the wind in every kind of weather.
We're out of balance.
We've drifted too far, trading our compass for the shine of a star.
You can't buy mercy, you can't fake grace.
You can't hide truth with a prettier face. If we want tomorrow to be better than today, it starts with the choices that we make.
One heart, one hand, one soul made able.
Finding our way back to that Bible on the table.
Finding our way back
to that Bible on the table.
No one can carry this burden alone.
No nation is stronger than the seeds it has sown.
Forgiveness is costly, but hatred costs more.
Peace begins when we open the door.
Not every answer arrives overnight,
But every sunrise begins with first light.
mustard seed grows through the world laid down.
Faith has a way of working things out.
We're out of balance.
But hope's still alive.
Truth and compassion are
How we'll survive.
Let's lift each other instead of the blame.
Remember, we're more than a title or name.
The future is written by what we choose today.
One faithful step along the narrow way.
When this whole world's no longer so unstable, we'll
Remember the book that sat there on the table.
When the world's walking back,
Don't lose your way.
truth doesn't fade.
With the close of the day.
The answers we're searching for,
If we're willing and able, have been waiting all along. In that Bible on the table.
Yeah. Bill, do you like your picture? So he sent me a picture of him holding up a coffee cup, basically saying cheers kind of thing. And I fed that into the chat GPT, and I said, can you give me, I asked him to give me a realistic version, and I didn't like the way the realistic version looked, because it basically made Bill look it didn't come out right. We'll just say I'll send you that picture, because I had ChatGPT do one of you pointing at the Bible without the logo on there and without all the words and stuff. And then you can take and do something with it. But I thought that this was a good representation, and I thought that you would like that. And I wanted people to understand that, this inspiration doesn't come from just me. Okay, a lot of times you guys will make comments in the chat, and sometimes I don't see them like right away. I'll catch them later. But I'll write them down. I'll write down the little statements that you make, and oftentimes that will end up leading to a song being written, whether it's a question that you have about what's going on in the world today, or if it's about a specific topic and things like that. And oh, I just read Bill's comment. That's a great pic. Wish I looked that good. Yeah, that's I don't remember what the design is called, but I like those kind of images more so than the realistic one, because that you can tell that it was created by what it was created by. Okay, it's very clear, very apparent. And it's non-confusing. But if it went with the realistic one, Bill, it would have looked like you aged another 10 years and had a lot less hair. Okay, and I didn't think that would go over well. So I went with the second choice. So, but again, the inspiration for a lot of this stuff comes because of you guys, and I do appreciate it because you make, in many ways, you make me have to have a direct correlation with Father, a direct conversation with Father to guide me in the right path. Okay, in order to write these, because I want them to come out in a way where it's strengthening messages, not just a sad song or something. But it's like I look at all of the music that's being put out and has been put out in the last 10 years, and I can't listen to it. I can't. I cannot listen to it. I'm very disappointed in seeing where music is today. But again, that's dealing with the devil at the crossroads, and fame of that kind leads to less impressive music, less meaningful music, less messages that are uplifting, positive, and reinforcing. And if it's not something that's giving you strength, then it's not worth your time. It's really not. Except for the safety meeting songs. Those are important because we've got to have a little bit of entertainment, because I need to be able to cough comfortably off microphone. I went there. Yes, I did. I went there. So I'm going to give you one more. We're going to have a safety meeting during this song. And then I will be back with you. I like that Brownie song at the beginning. I was working on that. That's why one of the reasons that I ended up starting late. The computer was still operating doing that. And the other part was that I somehow lost my flipping mind in all of today, and forgot to fill up the girls' water things and get their food in there. I had it sitting over by the gate, but I never put it through there. So I had to get in there and get them taken care of. So, all right, let's go with a little ice cream cake kind of day, and I'll be right back with you.
An ice cream cake, baby. I'm just letting myself be. Yeah. Well, the day's been heavy, I'm not gonna lie. Too many thoughts rolling through my mind. So I grabbed my pipe, took a look around, and told all my worries, y'all can settle down. I ain't running, I ain't hiding, I just need a little room. Sometimes peace shows up quietly and chases out the gloom. There ain't no emergency, ain't no race. Sometimes you just need a little bit of space. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Let the heavy drift away. Take a breath, take it slow. Ain't nowhere I gotta go. The world's gonna spin with or without me. I'm just gonna sit right here and let myself be. People ask me, smoke profit, what's the plan? I say, brother, I'm just one old man. Read a little scripture, watch the clouds roll by. Thank the Lord above for another sunrise. I ain't looking for all all the answers. I ain't chasing what's out of reach. Sometimes the quiet says a whole lot more than words can never teach. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Let the heavy drift away. Take a breath, take it slow. Ain't nowhere I gotta go. The world's gonna spin with or without me. I'm just gonna sit right here and let myself be. Now, ice cream cake ain't hard to love. Sweet vanilla drifting on the breeze above. I ain't trying to disappear. I'm just putting my worries in another gear. Life gets loud, that much is true, but I don't have to join in too. One deep breath and a little smile, and life gets lighter for a while. No, sir, I ain't escaping. I ain't hiding from a thing. I'm just slowing down enough to hear the evening sing. The birds still chirp, the wind still blows. Funny how peace shows up when you let life go. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Sweet vanilla drifting my way. Take a breath, take it slow. Ain't nowhere I gotta go. One old Marine with a grateful smile, just enjoying this a little while. The world can hurry if it wants to race. I'm gonna stay right here in my happy place. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. No, that's better. Coffee's warm, the sky's looking good, and today's a whole lot lighter than it was an hour ago. That'll do just fine. That'll do just fine.
Yeah, there we go. Safety meeting over. Back to it. There we go. Let's start right here. Okay, Hillary Clinton urges federal employees not to cooperate after President Trump authorizes Pulte to declassify anything he wants while he serves as DNI. And he says it himself. Even CNN stated that Hillary Clinton's comment seemed a little deep statey. Here we go.
Real quick question. You've got DNI Pulte over there as the new director. We also know you have the task force set up on declassification, maybe talking about international, maybe looking at some declassification. Are you able to give us an update on this?
Declassify almost everything. And, by the way, we have Jay Clayton is going in. Bill Pulte's a very talented guy, but he's just there temporarily until Jay Clayton. And Jay Clayton is going through the process. And Jay Clayton, highly respected, and so is Bill Pulte. But Bill is there just for a fairly short period of time. But while he's there, I said, you can declassify whatever you want.
That line right there is the most important one. Okay, listen again.
Bill is there just for a fairly short period of time. But while he's there, I said, you can declassify whatever you want. I told him you could do it as bad. You got to ask him. But I think it's a friend of yours. I think that Bill will declassify. I told him you can declassify whatever you want. So Bill's there just, for maybe a month or 2 months or something. And Jay is going through the process. He's got a hearing in 2 weeks. Highly respected man, Jay Clayton. Okay? Thank you. Did you get any more Pulitzer Prizes? You know what? A Pulitzer Prize? A picture of the plane. Margo, are you taking care of everybody? How's Margo? Okay. Thank you.
I hope there are career and even political appointees in various of the agencies that are slow walking or refusing to share information with Pulte.
So, Bill, you mentioned there are a range of things, a range of tools you believe that Congress has. Max, you served on Homeland Security when you were in Congress. Do you agree with former Secretary Clinton there? Do you think that's actually the right approach?
No, that comment did feel a little deep statey.
Even coming from her own party. Even coming from her own party. We are being proven right with everything that we've tried to teach people and tell people about for the last 10 years is all coming to fruition right now. Okay. She was a wife of a president. She was a senator. Okay. And then she was the head of the Department of State. Other than that, she had no right to put that insinuation out there whatsoever. But I'm going to say this. I'm glad that she did. Okay. I'm glad that she got on CNN and opened her pie hole. Okay. For everybody to see that everybody who comes forward now saying we're not giving them this, we're not giving them that, are committing treason at the direction of Hillary Rodham Clinton. Okay? No different than the seditious six when they came out and made their statements to all of our troops. Did they commit treason in that act? Okay? But that is exactly what Hillary Clinton just did. On national TV, on CNN, confiscate the recordings, confiscate the transcript, and prosecute this old, bitter, shriveled up witch. She's not shriveled up. She's bloated, actually. She's extremely bloated. But I'm just saying. I don't know why they use an older picture of her, because she definitely does not look like that anymore. You know, I'm just saying that there's things that we know, and there are things that we don't, and then there are things that we don't want to know. But, all right, let's move on. I mean, therefore I am. You know, this young lady, she's an immigrant mom. Okay, Polish immigrant mom. She's unfiltered, no apologies. DM for submissions and credits. Okay, you know, I want to, you know, absolutely give her props, because we've been following for a couple of years and has never ever let us down where it comes to a lot of things, and was also the lady who introduced us to diaper diplomacy, you know, with the politicians being turned into kids. So we give 100% props with that as well. And I like the news that she puts together, because it really reflects upon when she goes at an organization head on, or a sect of people, she does so respectfully, just puts a brief statement out, and then lets them reveal to you who and what they are themselves. You did a great job with the girl with the last name of Good that got hit or that tried to run over an ICE agent, and then with Preddy as well. Okay, Alex Preddy, I think his name was. You know, so this is kind of, you know, falls into that same line, you know, where they just conveniently reveal who they are and what they're about on their own. And that can be a very, very big thing. All right. So she says, shocking. Wisconsin trans Democrat staffer Teja Delaruel. Delaruel. Okay, I got it. I think I got it. I probably fucked it up, but I don't care. Is openly calling on leftists to kill your local Republican. We're going to make this the moderate position for the state of Wisconsin, but I need your help. Now, I want to make sure that I'm on screen when I play this so that they understand that I'm playing a clip. Okay. And we're talking about this clip. Okay. I used the wrong damn hand to point to that clip over there. This clip over here. Okay. This clip. All right. Here we go.
Hey, T7T here, and we're going to make this the moderate position for the state of Wisconsin. But I need your help because we have 1 month to do this. So let's do it.
You have one. We have. She said what? She said it's. He said we have 1 month to do this. That's interesting. This timeline. There's a timeline thrown in there. It's like the stopwatch has been started. We have 30 days to do this. 30 days. 30 and done. Interesting. Just weird. Kind of. Weird. Sort of. Kind of. Yeah. All right. Then we got Tim Burchett.
We'll tell you this. You went the part where I said I'm not suicidal. I remembered it was another Saturday. I was sitting at the house and I got a call from I'll just say a friend of the administration and told me that
the Trump administration.
Yeah, it said I'd kicked a hornet's nest, and it said you need to get bodies around you. And I'm in East Tennessee. I've got bodies around me. There's enough good old boys out there. I don't know exactly what that means, but it's a literal. Lou will tell you we have kicked a virtual hornet's nest, and these people don't want this stuff out.
Tim has every right to be worried for his life over seeking answers on UFO disclosures. There are at least 12 documented recent cases involving scientists, researchers with ties to U.S. government programs that are UFO, UAP related. This is 12 people that have been killed just in the last few years. So that's a big deal. And Tim has been whistleblowing on things like this before involving murder with the government. Because if you look at some of what he was talking about with the budget, he was talking about when the Pentagon was failing their audits, no one knows where the money's going. And he says that the only way that we'll ever find out is if somebody leaks it, and then they will certainly be murdered. But don't just take it from me. He actually said that. Listen to this.
You have a Pentagon that has billions of dollars that they hide. We don't ask for any accounting of. They never pass an audit in the history of audits. I've often said the only way we're really going to get to the bottom of this is somebody's going to walk out of one of these labs with this information and puts it out on the internet before they commit suicide by shooting themselves in the back of the head.
Yeah, this is exactly what we're worried about here with Tim, is he keeps pushing these subjects, but he's honest. If you leak things that they don't want you to know, or they don't want the public to know, they will murder you. And that is just a fact.
And the question is who is they? Who is they? And that's all got to come out in the wash. It's all got to come out in the wash. Now, we listened to a speech by this woman just a couple of days ago. I played a thing, at first when she first started talking, a lot of people didn't understand the direction that the conversation was going to go. And I said that she reminds me of to me, she's kind of like Isaac Cappy's older sister, okay, with the hair, but it's the way that she talks and the way that she is so informed and fruitful with the information that she is putting out to you. Okay. And you can tell that not only is her brain working, but her heart is working just as much. And to me, that makes a person worth giving the opportunity to really listen to. And this is one here that I thought was rather interesting. Carly Bonet put this one up. Props to Carly Bonet, we've been following all these years. You know, whether it was Midnight Rider or whichever account that she was currently able to have, you know, to have people who, it's a different point of view. She's looking at it through one window pane, while 100,000 other people are looking at the same window, but they're not looking through the same way. And I like a lot of the things that Carly brings up, because a lot of times she'll kick in some reminders as well. Okay, that is, yeah. A little bit over. Well, you know, if you don't like my music, then mute me during the music. Am I going to stop doing the music? No. No, I'm not going to stop. I don't even know who you are. I've never even seen your name in my chat before. And all of a sudden you're coming in to tell me what to do on my podcast? Yeah, I don't think so. All right, here we go.
Donald Trump is in the White House, and suddenly all these DEI initiatives are falling by the wayside. I mean, immediately, all of the big KPMG and Google and all of these institutions suddenly, no, we don't want these anymore. Nobody believes in this stuff. It is all performative. It is all pretense. Everybody's doing it because they don't want to be called a racist. They're not doing it because they actually believe that it's right. The thing is, all of this anti-racism, I mean, all we're doing is lining the pockets of Ibram X. Kendi and all these people who are becoming billionaires out of our stupidity and our inability to stand up for what's right. What they're saying is wrong. Once upon a time, we wanted to not be racist. That's what we wanted. But they say, no, you can't be not racist. You have to be anti-racist. Right. So it's not good enough to just try and be a good person. It's not good enough to be kind and be grateful for what you've got, all of the values that we teach our children. No, that's not good enough. You have to go out and seek out the racism.
Yeah, and she's right. They constantly want us to look for the outrage, you know, and you know, it's to go back to the conversation previous of that video. You know, sometimes when I throw a song on, it's because I need to step away from the computer. Okay, I'm one guy on a 30-acre piece of property. I have a shitload of German Shepherds here that I have to constantly check on. I have a puppy that is out and about that I have to go and get eyes on periodically. So I would rather you listen to a song than sit here in absolute silence. I mean, if that's what you want, you know, but in continuation to the Department of War's rapid response. This is also from this morning, the same time that Hegseth was there in order to do this. And this is it's you know, these guys have they've been doing quite a bit of work in Washington D.C. and this is your National Guard.
2,500 guardsmen in from 15 states in the District of Columbia, and you all have done an amazing job. You all have saved over 235 lives. You all have done over 530 medical assistance to personnel. You have restored children back to their families 27 times, and you have done amazing things in support of law enforcement to make sure we reduce crime. As we celebrate 250 years on Saturday, most Americans will get up and they'll think about barbecues and family and friends. They'll think about where they're going to watch the fireworks. But our National Guard will have 40,000 globally engaged somewhere, and they'll wake up and they'll lace up their boots and they'll think about going into the ballistic missile defense site to make sure we're secure. They'll think about cyber and how we're making sure we're protecting our networks. And right here in DC, they'll be lacing up to make sure that they can fly jets into the air, whether they're maintainers or crew chiefs or the pilots, to keep our skies safe, not only over Washington, D.C., but across our nation. And so as we go forward and we've bumped up another 2,500 to celebrate the 4th and our independence for 250 years, that's a quarter of a millennium. Think about that. And so we want to give a shout out to our governors and to our adjutants generals for helping to make sure that our guardsmen can be here and ready to go so we can celebrate across our nation.
Yeah. So that was, you know, the one thing that he didn't do was go into the statistics in regards to the arrests and things like that have been going on in Washington. They've been very close-lipped about that, and I think a lot of that's got to do with how the judicial system is operating in Washington, D.C., because we know that Judge Jeanine Pirro, being the U.S. District Attorney there in Washington, D.C., she is doing a lot to clean up the city and to have access to Donald Trump and to the National Guard is a benefit to her because of one of the biggest things, military intelligence. You know, military intelligence, you know, overseeing a city can be detrimental to the longevity of the riddle of crime in Washington, D.C. So my hat's off to these guys. They're there. They're doing their job. You know, they're getting paid the exact same amount there in Washington, D.C. as they would at any other base here in the United States. It's you know, basically that is you know, I guess we call it owned by the federal government city. Okay. And, you know, until we, the people, have completely reclaimed it. And the first step in the reclamation is what? End of occupation and the moving in of our own branch service branches and so on and so forth. And it's, you know, things are going to change. We just have to be kind of patient and watch and see. And I know patience is not an easy thing at this time. I know it's not. I know how hard it is to watch all these things going on, all these truths come out, not enough arrests happening. You know, we see the indictments coming down. We're not seeing convictions. Everything will culminate in a way that we understand the timeline. But the biggest thing is the wheels of justice turn very slowly. And the reason that they turn slowly is so that they get it right the first time. Okay. We may not have a second chance at these people. These hidden hands that have been pulling the strings day after day, year after year. They have stolen the American dream, and we are taking it back. But through the grace of God. It's that simple. For the first time in our history, all Secret Service law enforcement personnel will carry the same badge. One agency, one badge.
For over 160 years, our agency has evolved to meet every challenge. From the original Secret Service operatives and White House police to the special agents and officers of today, we all share the same mission. Whether we are standing post at the White House, investigating counterfeiting in a lab, perched on a rooftop in New York City, or within arm's reach of a protectee. In the past, we've operated with two separate badges. That ends this year. We will move forward with a single badge. The design of this badge is intentional. It pays tribute to the legacies that have existed for over a century. while moving forward to a new era. The raised star anchors a circular shield design. This is inspired by the original badge our operatives once carried, never forgetting our history. The gold accents reflect the command emblems used by the Secret Service Police. A blue ring encircles the badge, highlighting our shared law enforcement heritage. The purpose behind this initiative is clear. One agency, one badge.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So when they show up and they got the wrong kind of badge, you know, because you now know what
for over 160
what the new one's going to look like. You know what it's going to look like. Where is it? Give me the full shot here. Bing. There you go, right there. If you ain't seeing that, it ain't real. Right? Yep. All right. Then this is happening. Katie Daviscourt says, exclusive, an illegal alien disarmed a Boston ICE agency this morning during a targeted arrest in Everett, Massachusetts. Sources told T-Post Millennial that the previously deported illegal alien pulled the firearm out of the agent's holster while he resisted arrest. ICE agents ultimately won the battle and took the subject into custody. He will likely be facing fresh criminal charges, sources said. So, yeah, they got a tough job. They got a really tough job to do. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's fucking wild. This is literally happening right outside of my house. Literally right outside of my house. Like, fuck this. Fuck ICE. He was literally heading to work for this to happen. Motherfuckers. Motherfuckers.
No, actually, he should have self-reported.
Literally. This is fucking crazy. Literally fucking crazy. Motherfuckers. Motherfuckers. Right at the house. The things that we go through.
Yeah. So this kid here, he's upset that the Boston ICE are doing their jobs. He's mad that they're doing their jobs. You know, he's upset about that. You know, and he's got this fuck ICE mentality, and that tells me that there's, I guess, a pretty serious mental deficiency going on in the Boston area. You know, and the thing is in my early 20s, I spent about a year up in the Waltham area, which is right outside of Boston. We used to go into Boston. We used to go to the Bull and Finches, which was the place that Cheers was done for. You know, there were some pretty crazy people in that city then. I guess it is contagious. I'm glad that I got out of there before too long. Yeah. Anna Paulina Luna.
This vote, the yeas are 198, the nays are 224. The resolution is not adopted. The House will be in order.
Yeah.
This vote, the yeas are 198.
So she says Anna Paulina Luna goes full war mode for the Save America Act. I don't care who in this chamber hates me for it. She ripped into Senator fecklessness and or Senate fecklessness. I was just picking out one person, I guess, and I shouldn't have done that. And House members prioritizing Senate feelings over voter promises. We have feckless leadership in the Senate refusing to pass the Save America Act. Did you not all run on this and promise this to your voters? Her message was crystal clear. Say yes, 1,000%. The rule will go down until you attach the Save America Act. So it's going to be it's going to be kind of interesting. All right, Nam de Plume. Taking a look at this one here. This is the brother to Patriot Dad EV 2.0 that I play. They also have Patriot Source on YouTube, and I believe that they're also up on Rumble. I think I'm pretty sure they're up on Rumble as well. But here we go.
We're going to discuss a taboo topic, if you will. One that hasn't been discussed very often on this platform, mostly because it's still run by absolute communists. But as we head into our 250th birthday here in the United States of America for Independence Day, where we fought and secured our independence from Great Britain based on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and freedom, it's important to remember where this all came from. So I've been watching Glenn Beck. If you don't watch Glenn Beck, you need to, because he probably is the historian of our time, like the person who is doing the most amount of work to teach us about our founding documents, the founders and everything, and what all of this actually means, even the stories that you don't want to hear. And he's doing a 3-part series about the Declaration of Independence right now, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is that right there is in Manchester, England, what you just watched. Because this country is currently getting ready to be embroiled in the exact same struggle that England and all of Europe is embroiled in. And what we will be told is, well, we're just Christian nationalists and these are just, Arab people who want freedom. Let me ask you a question. Do those men and women in the streets of Manchester that are essentially taking over the streets, do they strike you as devout Muslims? I have a reason why I'm asking this, because in those same streets, we just had the report come out of the UK of the 250,000 young white girl rape victims at the hands of over 13,000 Pakistani Muslims. The world will tell you that what they are doing in the street right there is just practicing their religion. Let me ask you a question. Is it devout? Is it religious of that entire community to completely ignore what happened to those young girls? No. They support it because they were young white girls. That's the entire point. You see, we don't have that going on in our streets here yet because they don't have the numbers that they need to have to be able to start to express the strength of Islam like they are doing over in the UK. We're not far away from that. That's Dearborn, Michigan last week. We're not far away from the 250,000 victim grape gang, Pakistani grape gang that the UK is dealing with right now, and basically all of Europe is dealing with. As we snooze our way into the 250th birthday of this United States of America, it's probably important for actual Americans to understand the threat that we face as we go into the next 250 years. And it's the same threat that this country started and was born facing. No, I'm not talking about the Revolutionary War. I'm talking about the Barbary Pirates War. See, this has been a threat to freedom ever since this country was born. Islam is a threat to freedom everywhere it goes. So they will tell you that they're devout Muslims and they're just going by their holy book, but their holy book is one that oppresses and suppresses women and freedom Do you think they did that to those young white girls for any other reason? No. And all of those women in the hijabs and the headscarves stood idly by and watched it happen and didn't care. Tell me more about your faith, please.
Yep. Tell me more about your faith. Yep. And here we go with some batshit bonkers Britain.
Breaking news here in batshit bonkers Britain, where finally we have the defence plan for the UK. We waited 9 months for it to be released. It's been delayed, and there's still a £4.7 billion shortfall in the funding, a massive black hole the size of David Lammy's head. That will be for the eyebrows in the black t-shirt Andy Burnham to find if ever he does turn up from Manchester. In this defence plan, we are going to be relying on drone technology, and we seem to have acquired a bunch of second-hand drones on vintage from a dodgy Chinese firework display. So that's all going to be perfect. In other news, whites at universities here in the UK, they are underrepresented at 80 of the 147 universities and are in a minority at 20 of the 147 universities here in the UK. I don't know if you can imagine the kind of DEI contortions you have to go through to exclude bright, white, young people, but it is always the case that ethnic minorities are protected just as long as they aren't white. And finally, darlings, the Bayeux Tapestry on display here in the UK for the first time. It costs 33 quid to go and see it, but it's in one long piece. Let me tell you this, young people, there are 93 penises on the Bayeux Tapestry. A lot of them are horses, some of them are the horses' riders, and it's thought that the more higher up you were in the hierarchy, the bigger your knob was. So it turns out 11th century needleworkers loved a knob gag as much as the rest of us. There is another replica at Reading Museum that you can see for absolutely free, but the Victorians found the Bayeux Tapestry very rude, and so they put little pants on the people. Oh, my darlings, here is a chicken that I did in my needlework class at school. Gifted and talented. That's it, darlings. Batshit bonkers Britain.
Yeah. Katie Hopkins. She is something else, isn't she? All right. And then we've got two clips from Todd. Actually, I suppose we should probably go back. Let's go here first.
Let me tell you what that evidence was. On August 24th, 2024, in the middle of night, a man and two kids had their hands zip-tied and were kidnapped by TDA members who demanded that they pay them money. Once the TDA members realized the man could not pay them any money, they pulled over by a bridge in Dallas and told the man to jump off. When he refused to do so and attempted to flee, a TDA member gunned him down, execution style, in front of the two children. The Farmers Branch police found the man on the side of the road, abandoned and bleeding from the head because of a single gunshot right between his eyes. This led my office to initiate an international investigation of this transnational criminal organization. I immediately mobilized my violent crime chief, Jeremy Fugate, to team up with Task Force Vulcan and the Homeland Security Task Force, which includes many different agencies, particularly FBI and HSI, to investigate this transnational gang at the highest levels. Yesterday was a culmination of this outstanding multi-agency collaboration to bring the full force of the federal government on TDA's presence in Texas and our nation.
Interesting. Well, let's go up here to Todd Blanche now.
About two recent Supreme Court rulings. Let's start with yesterday, the birthright citizenship ruling. I know you guys announced yesterday you're going to ramp up efforts to combat birth tourism schemes. But Secretary Mullen said earlier today there are discussions about other options after this ruling. Can you discuss what other options are on the table after yesterday's decision?
Well, from a Department of Justice standpoint, it's obviously focusing our prosecutors and our law enforcement partners on birthing tourism, and it's a booming industry, and it will continue. It will continue given the Supreme Court's decision yesterday. There's other things that DHS can do and the federal government can do in the visa process and the application process to try to minimize or limit the opportunity of folks coming here to not to visit and not to do what they're saying they're doing on their tourist visa, but just to have a baby that can then be a U.S. citizen. So from our standpoint, it's focusing on what is a problem. So everybody should agree that it's a violation of our laws if your intent in coming here, if you're pregnant, is to have a child to become a United States citizen because of our now laws. And so what we have to do as the Department of Justice is make sure our agents or HSI agents that we work with and the FBI are focused on stopping that. And that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. We're going to stop it. And then we got this.
Court case. There was another ruling in the Hawaii gun case, ruling that banning guns on private property is unconstitutional. There are other states that have those same laws. Is the Justice Department going to take action against any other states that have those laws currently on the books after this ruling?
Yeah, look, I think Maryland, California, New Jersey, New York have basically existing laws that are now unconstitutional. So the fact that the Department of Justice should have to take action is embarrassing to the attorneys generals and the leadership in those states if we do have to take action, because they now have a law that the Supreme Court has said is a violation of our Constitution. So if we have to sue them, of course we will, and they should be sued, but it shouldn't take this Department of Justice telling a state they're violating the Constitution when the Supreme Court told them they were yesterday. So it's not only those 4 states, there's a bunch of other states that have pending legislation that mirrors the Hawaii law that was just declared unconstitutional. So I expect those efforts will cease, but we'll see what those states do. And if they don't immediately rectify their unconstitutional law, we'll do it for them. Yeah.
Yep. So basically what he's telling the states is, oh, hang on 1 second. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Here we go.
The breaking news this hour, we are just learning that U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro is planning to hold a press conference soon on the alleged destruction of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. Just moments ago, CNN learning that a former Olympic canoeist was indicted by a grand jury after his arrest. CNN crime and justice correspondent Caitlin Poland's joining us now with those breaking details. So, Caitlin, what are we learning about these charges?
Erica, I don't have the exact charges yet, but what I do know is that David Hearn, the former Olympic canoeist who was touching the blue material from the bottom of the reflecting pool and was cited by park police, he is going to be facing a felony charge in Washington, D.C. Superior Court. So that's the local court. But the prosecutors who decide on something like that, those are the federal prosecutors, the U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. We are expecting Pirro to make some public statements about this at a press conference in about a half an hour. I reached out to David Hearn's lawyer to ask if they knew what was going on and how this case had escalated from these misdemeanor citations for disobedience in public for touching this federal property to a felony charge. And they said that they were still learning about what was happening today. So we're just at the very forefront of understanding that this arrest has turned into a charge. Now, Erica, to back up a second here, this is not just about what something may have happened on the National Mall area, Erica. This is about the reflecting pool that Donald Trump had wanted to renovate, that he sunk $14 million into to resurface the bottom of. He had it drained. There was an algae problem after that bottom was resurfaced. And then the blue surface on the bottom began peeling up. That was drawing people to the reflecting pool to look at it. And then there were more federal officers sent to protect the reflecting pool. That's the moment in time where Hearn received this citation. He has said that he was just curious about it. He wasn't trying to vandalize it. But the president, Donald Trump, he came out there amid the arrest of David Hearn and said this was vandalization. And he then called for very aggressive law enforcement and prosecution of anything around the reflecting pool. He said, please remember that there is a 10-year prison sentence for the destruction of federal property or even the attempted destruction of such things, which will be fully enforced. So now one of the questions is, what in this case made the U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro decide that this should be a felony charge rather than a much lesser charge for David Hearn, just choosing not to stick with the citation he received, choosing to take it through a grand jury in Washington, D.C. What made her do that? And did the president calling for a very aggressive charge here, a felony charge, factor into the prosecutor's consideration of this case against Hearn?
So, today a grand jury has returned a felony indictment against a defendant, David Hearn, for felony destruction of property, for which he faces 10 years in prison. The indictment is in response to an incident that occurred on June 19th of 2026, in which the defendant Hearn ripped a piece of recently installed sealant on the bottom of the reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial. The evidence shows, we will prove beyond a reasonable doubt, that Hearn willfully destroyed property at the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. This was a deliberate act to damage the reflecting pool at the National Mall that members of the National Park Service actually have worked hard to restore and have witnessed. By Hearn's own admission, on June 19th, he reached down into the pool. Our evidence further shows that the National Park Service employees observed Hearn actually forcefully and violently pulling up and removing the bottom liner with both hands. According to witnesses, Hearn damaged approximately 2 square feet of sealant from the bottom of the pool. A parks employee actually told Hearn to stop his behavior and stop what he was doing. Hearn reacted by shouting at that parks employee, saying that she cared too much about the reflecting pool, and why did she even care, since it wasn't her pool. Now, Mr. Hearn's behavior was characterized by witnesses as belligerent, rude, and disrespectful, according to National Park Service employees that witnessed the event. Now, let me talk a moment about those employees. Many of those employees have come from around the country because they are proud of this nation. They are proud of the 250th anniversary that we are about to experience. Many of them have decided to step away from their desks and to go outside and actually work next to the pool to witness what was going on, as opposed to staying in a cool office. These are the witnesses that we're talking about in this case. These are the people who care about this particular monument and what is going on. They work long hours and they are tireless in their efforts. And they must be shown respect and not be treated with belligerence and with disrespect by those who seek to damage the very monuments that they are there to protect.
Yep. The monuments that they're there to protect. Let's go to the second one.
This was a deliberate act to damage the reflecting pool at the National Mall that members of the National Park Service actually have worked hard to restore and have witnessed. By Hearn's own admission, on June 19th, he reached down into the pool. Our evidence further shows that the National Park Service employees observed Hearn actually forcefully and violently pulling up and removing the bottom liner with both hands. According to witnesses, Hearn damaged approximately 2 square feet of sealant from the bottom of the pool. A parks employee actually told Hearn to stop his behavior and stop what he was doing. Hearn reacted by shouting at that parks employee, saying that she cared too much about the reflecting pool, and why did she even care, since it wasn't her pool. Now, Mr. Hearn's behavior was characterized by witnesses as belligerent, rude, and disrespectful, according to National Park Service employees that witnessed the event. Now, let me talk a moment about those employees. Many of those employees have come from around the country because they are proud of this nation. They are proud of the 250th anniversary that we are about to experience. Many of them have decided to step away from their desks and to go outside and actually work next to the pool to witness what was going on, as opposed to staying in a cool office. These are the witnesses that we're talking about in this case. These are the people who care about this particular monument and what is going on.
Yeah, interesting, huh? Interesting. And then, let's see. People are going after these flock cameras and all over the place here in the United States. They're tired of this. And then let's see. Update. Active duty Air Force Major Jason Watson faces mass calls for disciplinary action by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth after in uniform. He demanded President Trump be removed from office in a demonstration where he got arrested. The stunt is connected to leftist NGOs and Representative Al Green. Bring FAFO Secretary Hegseth. Yep, that's what Eric Daughtry said. Yep. So let's see. So an illegal alien rammed an ICE vehicle in Harrisburg, and shots were fired after officers confronted him at the scene. The officers walked up to the SUV and ordered the driver out immediately. One warned he would shatter the window if the man refused to comply. When the driver stayed put, the officer smashed the glass. The driver then sped off and slammed into one of the unmarked ICE vehicles as he tried to escape. An ICE spokesman confirmed the illegal alien weaponized his vehicle by ramming the agents. As he pulled away, the officer drew his gun and a gunshot rang out. So we will see what's going to happen here. Let's see. There they go. There they go after him. Yep. And then we've got Julie Donuts put this one up. President Trump post. Oh, the irony. Are being freed Brits.
In July of 1776, King George III still towered over New York City. Not in person, in lead. At Bowling Green, near the tip of Manhattan, stood a gilded 4,000-pound statue of King George on horseback, dressed like a Roman emperor. It had been erected just 6 years earlier as a monument to British power. But by the summer of 1776, Americans no longer saw majesty in this statue. They saw tyranny. On July 9, 1776, George Washington gathered his troops in New York and had the newly adopted Declaration of Independence read aloud. The words had barely settled before soldiers, sailors, and patriots surged down Broadway to Bowling Green and toppled the King George statue. While the crowd saw tyranny toppled, Connecticut patriot Oliver Wolcott saw bullets. 4,000 pounds of lead bullets for a Continental Army Wolcott knew would be desperate for ammunition. So Wolcott had the shattered pieces of King George loaded onto boats and shipped to Connecticut. From there, ox carts hauled the remains of King George more than 60 miles over rough country roads to Wolcott's home in Litchfield. And in the Wolcott family orchard, a shed became a foundry. His wife Laura, his daughter Mary Ann, and local neighbors worked over melting pots, pouring the king's lead into bullet molds. 42,088 musket balls in all. Some of those bullets were fired 2 years later at the Battle of Monmouth, the brutal New Jersey showdown where Washington's army proved it could stand in the open field against British regulars. You have to love the irony. Britain sent America a monument to empire. America sent it right back at muzzle velocity. So let's celebrate our nation's 250th birthday as we remember patriots like Oliver Wolcott who made it all possible. From the White House, I'm Peter Navarro.
Senator Mark Warner went nuts yesterday about President Trump appointing his friend and businessman Bill Pulte as acting director of national intelligence. Here's Warner on CNN.
They can't acknowledge that Biden won. But I also think there's a focus on 26 and 28.
What could he do with this job in 26?
What he could do is take a single piece of intelligence that may not be corroborated or make something up and say country X is going to interfere or is sending people to encourage non-citizens to vote, and that be used as an excuse for Trump to bring in ICE, federal troops, close down elections, seize polling stations. The list is extraordinarily frightening.
The other CNN headliner was Republican Representative Brian Fitzpatrick. He explained why he is sponsoring a bill to kill the $1.8 billion fund that President Trump proposed for victims of lawfare.
The executive branch of government does not have any money in their own right. Every dime that every agency in the executive branch has comes from Congress. So that is our determination. The votes are not there and will not be there to give a dime to this fund. Tom and I have worked together on multiple pieces of legislation that we are prepared to move to the floor to make sure that, number one, that this fund specifically is killed.
Now, you might have heard that this is about President Trump being on a revenge tour, making bogus claims about election fraud. But if you just open your eyes and look, you'll find that the president's claims are all true. I'm Barbara Boyd, and I've followed the globalist war against Donald Trump ever since it began way back in 2016. Today, we'll cover why Warner, Fitzpatrick, and others in Congress are so hysterical about the president's latest moves. Then we'll talk about who they really work for and why Trump's current focus on election fraud could bring this whole house of cards down. But before we get started, please like and share this video. It increases our reach on YouTube. Now, last week, the House voted to spend billions more to fund Ukraine's war against Russia, which the White House opposes. And it seems like they prefer that war since they also voted to pull troops back from the Middle East until Trump gets their approval. And it gets even weirder. To make Trump pull Bill Pulte's nomination, the Senate is currently refusing to authorize FISA, a key intelligence tool in wartime. It's used to track foreign enemies, and it's critical to military operations. Mark Warner and Brian Fitzpatrick were the key players in that sabotage of the president. Why are they so freaked out about Pulte having direct access to NSA surveillance files, particularly about elections? The simple answer: they're now seeing themselves, rather than Donald Trump, in orange jumpsuits. Here's former DNI Tulsi Gabbard explaining what she found when she examined the classified files about Russiagate, which had been hidden from us.
The implications of this are far-reaching and have to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. It has to do with an outgoing president taking action to manufacture intelligence to undermine and usurp the will of the American people in that election and launch what would be a years-long coup against the incoming president of the United States, Donald Trump.
Gabbard didn't just prove that Russiagate was a hoax. She went on to prove that the second phase of the coup against Trump, the Ukraine-gate impeachment, was also a hoax run by former Obama and Biden staffers. Then she moved up on to election fraud and showed up at the Fulton County Board of Elections in Georgia as the FBI seized evidence about the 2020 election there. So far, she has said little about that third phase of the coup, which is where we are now with Bill Pulte. What were Senator Mark Warner and Brian Fitzpatrick doing in all of this? Well, Warner, as vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, saved the Russiagate hoax from complete collapse. You see, in January of 2017, Julian Assange from WikiLeaks was offering to show the Justice Department and the Senate committee that the WikiLeaks documents about Hillary Clinton rigging the primaries against Bernie Sanders and preening for Wall Street did not come from Russian sources. That would have stopped Russiagate dead in its tracks. But Warner and FBI Director Comey collaborated to kill any further Justice Department contacts and conversations with Assange. Brian Fitzpatrick is a former FBI agent handling political cases there, who deployed to Ukraine before winning election to Congress. He cheered Russiagate on and repeatedly attacked President Trump, claiming expertise from his dirty intelligence career to substantiate the hoax. If you look at each phase of the coup that Tulsi Gabbard documented, you'll see Warner and Fitzpatrick playing key roles in mobilizing the public against the president. That raises the question of who these guys really work for. Well, last week, two big-time globalist players in London, Tony Blair and Chatham House, gave us the answer. They claim that Donald Trump is about to negotiate a hasty ceasefire in the Ukraine war, which will benefit Putin. Tony Blair declared that the Ukraine war can't be won without the United States taking London's side.
So that's why I don't think the government is foolish in saying we've got to be prepared for the possibility of conflict in the future. But let's be very clear. Without America, we don't win that conflict.
And right on cue, Ukraine attacked St. Petersburg using NATO airspace to avoid detection. If Russia responds by attacking the NATO states who facilitated this attack, the U.S. will be dragged into the war there despite President Trump's opposition. Winning the Ukraine war against Russia is what Europe's leaders have staked their political futures on ever since the Ukraine coup in 2014. All of this was certainly known by Brian Fitzpatrick in leading the renewed charge in the House to fund the Ukraine war and pull U.S. troops out of the Middle East right as the president is winning the war. Now, what will Bill Pulte do? President Trump told reporters in the Oval Office that Pulte may, quote, find out some things about the rigged elections. Senate Majority Leader Thune immediately responded, quote, we don't need a weaponized DNI, we need professionals there. That's the same John Thune who succeeded in blocking the President's Save America Act against election fraud. Now, go back to Mark Warner's statement in my opening. Remember, he claimed Bill Pulte will use an uncorroborated, classified intelligence piece to allege foreign interference in the 2026 and 28 elections and send in ICE and the National Guard to shut them down. Isn't that a confession about what he himself did from 2017 forward? What is it about the sending in ICE part? Isn't that a confession about fraudulent mail-in ballots and non-citizen voting, the very fraud now taking place before our eyes in California? Here's what the $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund does. It compensates the people who were targeted: Flynn, Papadopoulos, Roger Stone, the January 6th defendants, even Bernie Sanders. And in compensating them, it creates a legal record, a documented, publicly funded accounting of what was done, by whom, and with what intelligence resources. Warner's name is in that story, so is Fitzpatrick's. Now look for a minute at the Senate race in May. Fox News is going wild about the Democrat Graham Plattner, the Nazi tattoo, the alleged attacks on girlfriends, the sexting on a predator website. All of that is typical of the nihilists the Democrats now promote. But who is this Oppo survey? Senator Susan Collins. Collins voted to convict Trump after January 6th. She refused to endorse him in 2024. Last week, she voted against the Save America Act. So you see, Trump's reckoning with this, folks, isn't aimed at the loudest voices in the room or the really crazy ones. It's about the ones claiming to be the adults in the room, the moderates who work for years with the media to keep the coup against this president and his supporters alive. And President Trump showed the appropriate response to them and their media scribes yesterday by walking out of his NBC Meet the Press interview.
That these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
But Mr. President,
you know why I got that? Because you have no
evidence.
credibility.
Now, you might ask me, okay, who do I support in the midterms if my Republican candidate isn't for Trump? How do we stop the fraud? Think back to right after the too big to rig November victory, when the raw magnitude of Trump's win was still fresh. Congress cooperated. Lukewarm supporters became supporters. The real enemies went quiet. We need to recreate that now in November with a massive turnout, a too big to rig vote for Trump, even when his name isn't on the ballot. We need to make clear to the Susan Collinses of this world that the turnout is for Trump, that they owe their seats to Trump. At Promethean Action, we're determined to do that and to educate the population on the American system of economy and how President Trump is using it to overturn globalism in all of its forms and disguises. It's the biggest story of my lifetime. We need your continued support to do that. Please become a paying member and contribute as much as you can. This has been your Monday Brief. Thanks for listening.
Please take a moment and subscribe to our free newsletter at prometheanaction.com.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Literally just came back in the door. Yeah. Now, back to where I was. Let's see, I played those, covered that. All right. Today, I am declaring a National Scallops Day, says Donald Trump. to celebrate an action taken by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, that will open up the northern edge of Georgia's bank to scallops fishing, fulfilling the dream of our great fishermen who were so badly treated by the Obama and Biden administrations and by the country of Canada. That will mean millions more pounds of beautiful wild scallops a year on the kitchen table of Americans, and more jobs in Norfolk, Virginia, Cape May, New Jersey, New Bedford, Massachusetts, essentially all parts of the East Coast. This is in addition to freeing up a massive area off the East Coast for our great lobster fishermen and others, an environmental monument declared by Barack Hussein Obama and Sleepy Joe Biden that I terminated, and 500,000 square miles of the beautiful Pacific Ocean where every country was allowed to fish except our great American fishermen. I have opened up the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, the seas to our fishermen and freed them from ridiculous environmental restrictions that allowed other countries to take advantage of the United States waters under Barack Hussein Obama. Sleepy Joe Biden and the Democrats. It is my great honor to have done so because I am the fisherman's friend. Go out and vote Republican in the midterms, because if the communists get in, you'll never fish again. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So, yeah. And I already played that one. The United States spends more on NATO than any other. Well, hang on one second. Give me 1 second. I tried to let you in. You didn't want to come in. Okay. Open the door. We get it all the way open so you don't get your leg caught again. Coming in, little one. Maddie, you coming in too? Mommy's here. No? Okay. All right. Samson, you got to find a place to lay down, buddy. Why don't you go up on the bed? Because you know that's what you're going to do anyways. You're going to end up stretching out on my bed so that when I get done with my podcast, I won't be able to take a nap. I won't be able to lay down for a minute. You're just going to, and then you'll be there when I get ready to go to bed tonight and take up 3/4 of the bed, if not the whole dang thing. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Don't look at me like that. All right. Donald Trump says the United States spends more money on NATO than any other country by far to protect them without getting any benefit from doing so. U.S., $999 billion. United Kingdom, $90.5 billion. France, $66.5 billion. Italy, $488.8 billion. Poland, $44.3 billion. Others, including Germany, are much lower, 2014 through 2025. Ridiculous. President Trump. $999 billion. You know, you understand why our country has a deficit is because we've been paying to protect other people. And it needs to come to an end. You know what I'm saying? You know, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry. Just instructions on which fuel to get. Sorry. So out here, there's a gas station, one town over, that actually has the pure gas. And I've had a lot of people tell me that since they started putting it in their cars, that they're getting like twice the gas mileage. What was getting them 18 to the gallon is now getting them anywhere between 26 and 30 miles to the gallon. That's it's pretty much like doubling it, your mileage. It burns different somehow. But yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. But want to make sure that they get okay. Sorry about that. All right. Moving on. Enoch Burke speaks after release from prison today. I'll just let him go.
This morning, we saw Judge Cregan releasing me here from Castlereagh Prison, but under the pretext that the DAP, that's the Disciplinary Appeals Panel, is over, he said, and is at an end. And Judge Cregan knows full well that the Disciplinary Appeal Panel was chaired by Miss Claire Callanan, the chair of the Disciplinary Panel of the Church of Ireland. And I would say one of the most powerful women in the Church of Ireland. Also the wife of Mr. Lyndon McCann, Senior Counsel, one of the most powerful men in the Church of Ireland. That's beyond doubt, far and away one of the most powerful men, a legal assessor, the legal assessor to the Archbishop of the Church of Ireland, sits on numerous high roles within the Church of Ireland. Now, Judge Cregan knows all this. He knows it full well. He was informed of it in court weeks ago. And he knows full well the seriousness of a party being judged in their own cause. And he knows that in my situation, suspension, a very serious matter, a rare occurrence, that it's important that the process would be procedurally meticulous. He knows all these things, and yet he would say today that it's over, it's finished, and for that reason, he's releasing me from prison. We know that the main reason that he is letting Enoch out of prison, that's what he said, is he said the appeal panel process is over. Now, Enoch Burke's school, Wilson's Hospital School, is a Church of Ireland school. It's under the auspices of the Church of Ireland. And to think that the person nominated by the state, by the Minister for Education, to sit on Enoch's appeal of his dismissal is a woman who is a high-ranking individual within the Church of Ireland and who's married to someone who is really has an unprecedented and unparalleled role in that organisation, is simply scandalous. Yes. Also, Judge Brian Cregan saying today that he was releasing me from prison because the school was now over and children would be safe, that I wouldn't be there in their way. Again, a total untruth. When I stood there in the corridor in Wilson's Hospital School, my school, children coming up, shaking hands with me, wanting photos, wanting signatures, delighted that I was there, wanting me to sign their jumpers at this time of the end of year. And Brian Cregan knows all this. And yes, what we saw on our screens last week, the Pride Parade, the depravity, the perversion, the Satanism, men dressed in black, men like dogs barking, all of this. That's safe. He's happy with that. That's okay for children. Yes. The children are safe apparently with that. No problem to Judge
Yes.
Brian Cregan.
Yeah.
And what you'll see on your screen now just is an example of this connection we said between all these people. The General Synod of the Church of Ireland in 2026, that was in Newcastle in County Down. And you'll see at the top table, this is the picture now of Lyndon McCann, Senior Counsel. He's sitting there as the assessor. He's sitting next to the Archbishop of Armagh, the Archbishop of Dublin. Of course, these men are trustees and guardians of Wilson's Hospital School. And we understand that in the ballroom, in the Grand Hall of the Synod, is Claire Callanan. She's also present at this event. She's participating at the event.
Panel.
And also, it has come to our knowledge that, and you'll see it on the screen here, that in the foyer, or just as you go in to the Grand Hall of the General Synod, a prominent and prioritised position was given to a stand of Wilson's Hospital School. And you'll see there, I believe, the current principal, Noel Cunningham, at that stand in 2026. So this is the close connection between all of these people.
It is a farce. This is the independent DAP now that Judge Cregan has signed off on today and said it's over.
Yeah.
It's at an end.
And he knows all these facts very well.
He does.
Judge Brian Cregan knows all about this. And yet he's exalting. That's the one thing he did today. He exalted the ruling of Claire Callanan, which is a farce. It's a joke, and it's an affront to a scandal.
It is a scandal
in this country.
A scandal.
Yeah. So Miss Mindersey says she got her mustard seed t-shirt today. I'm telling her to send me a picture. Yeah. Get ready to get that camera out, shoot a picture, and send it to me. I'd appreciate that very much. Yeah. So, all right. Let's see. So here's another one. Live to TikTok put this one out. Wannabe trans terrorist arrested in Las Vegas. Allison Hollett, a man pretending to be a woman, was arrested by police after he allegedly planned to carry out a mass shooting. Police found a huge stockpile of weapons at his home. He's being held on a $500,000 bond. We have an epidemic of trans violence in our country, and this is the fool, and this is the fool's toys. That right there ain't no joke. Okay. That right there ain't no joke. Okay. So let that sink in. This guy, this girl, this guy who wants to be a girl, and those are his accessories instead of earrings and necklaces and fancy, dresses. All right. That's his accessories. Most women just stick to, bracelets or necklaces or earrings, right? Yeah. This one here, takes the cake. Banana clips. Just saying, a whole lot. There's a whole lot going on here that people need to really start, and, the sad thing is this part of it. It says the media is referring to him as a woman. New media hoax. This woman who allegedly planned a mass shooting in Las Vegas is a man. Yeah. There you go. Las Vegas Review-Journal. Woman planned mass shooting at Henderson Casino. Had 24 weapons, police say. Woman accused of terrorism-related threats in Las Vegas gets $500,000 bail. Allison Howlett appeared by video in court after police said 22 guns were found in a car. Woman arrested in casino garage over mass shooting plot. Las Vegas woman arrested for making terroristic threats. Las Vegas woman accused of Sunset Station mass shooting threat held on $500,000 bond. The fake news is covering up the truth of trans violence. Once again, you don't hate the media enough. So there's a lot there. There's a lot to absorb and a lot to understand in when it comes to psychosis of people. You just, kind of have to watch. So Senator Richard Blumenthal, he's a corrupt piece of crap. This guy went into Congress or into the Senate. If I'm not mistaken, he was somewhere around $70,000, and now the guy is worth $159 million. Exactly how many years has he been in office? Let's find out. How many years has Richard Blumenthal been in politics, and what did he do before he went into politics? And if you could, what was his net worth when he became a member of the U.S. government? Let's see if we get an answer. Let's see. Richard Blumenthal has spent most of his professional life in public service and politics. Here's a breakdown. How long has he been in politics? As of 2026, that means he's been elected politician for about 42 years. So he was elected in office in 1984. Okay. Connecticut House of Representatives, then the Connecticut State Senate, then Connecticut Attorney General, and then U.S. Senator for Connecticut. If you include his appointment as U.S. Attorney for the District of Connecticut, which is a government position but not an elected political office, he has been involved in government service for nearly 50 years. What did he do before politics? He graduated from Harvard, studied at Trinity College in Cambridge, earned a law degree from Yale Law School, served as a law clerk for U.S. District Judge John Newman, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Harry Blackmun, worked as an aide to Daniel Patrick Moynihan and Abraham Ridikoff. I have no idea who they are. Served the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve from 1970 to 1976, leaving with the rank of sergeant. He was appointed U.S. Now, he's not a combat veteran, but he tells everybody he served in Vietnam, which he never did. Was appointed U.S. Attorney for the District of Connecticut at the age of 31. Later practiced law in private firms before running for the Connecticut legislature. What was his net worth when he entered? The question is harder to answer precisely because members of Congress file asset ranges, not exact dollar amounts. So he was listed as about 73 million in 2011. So he got elected into office in 1984 and acquired 73 million in that period of time. And then 2011 disclosure estimated around 112 million. So 70 million to over 100 million. Government public, yeah, this guy is, followed the wives, with most of the family's wealth associated with his wife's family investments. Yeah. There's some crookery going on there, but Richard Blumenthal, here we go.
The president's argument is the old Air Force One was in fact old. It's been used for 3 decades. Boeing is very far behind on delivering a new plane. Does he have a point in terms of them taking too long to produce a new plane?
Hopefully Boeing will accelerate production, and they need to do more quickly. The work on the new Air Force One, we've been pushing them to do it. That is a separate issue. The President of the United States ought to be using an American plane. And he could have gotten by, I think, with the old one. It was performing safely. It just wasn't as big and luxurious as he would want. And most of us who travel in economy class put up with a good deal more discomfort And Americans these days, remember, are struggling to make ends meet.
The president's argument is
So the question is, exactly how many economy flights have you flown in the last 50 years, Richard Blumenthal? How many economy class seats? I think you're full of crap. You know. So he says Richard Blumenthal, net worth $159 million, casually paints himself as an economy class traveler to attack Trump's new Air Force One as too big and luxurious. He could have gotten by with the old one. It's just wasn't as big and luxurious as he would want. And most of us who travel in economy class put up with a good deal more discomfort. Richard Blumenthal, you haven't had fucking discomfort since 1984 when you entered office and began stealing from the American people and from the state of Connecticut. I remember you going into office. I remember all the boasts and brags about what you were going to do for the American people, and you are so full of shit. It's ridiculous. I can't even comparatively say, yeah. And then we got this. John Brennan.
CIA Director John Brennan is suing the Trump administration, demanding a court order that would require officials to preserve records from investigations that he says are targeting him for phantom criminal conduct. The lawsuit says Brennan is facing an investigation over whether he made a false statement to Congress and another probe determining if he and other officials conspired to undermine President Trump. No charges have been brought yet.
So this is going to be interesting. Yeah. And then President Trump.
And the CEO, who's done a fantastic job, he took me around. I thought it would be maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I've been doing this for 2 hours. Thank goodness I love the subject, or I would not have put up with it. Doug said you could come in. You know, I'm prosecuting a war, which we're winning very easily, by the way. But I said, Doug, let's fly in. We'll do 10, 15 minutes. I know I'm going to love it. And then I'll get out. Oh, absolutely, sir. So then time comes. He got me making speeches. I was over there 2 hours. I know more about that museum than the people that built it. But that's okay, because they did a very good job. I can report that they did a really good job. The CEO of the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library, who really did give me a tremendous amount of knowledge, I mean, about things that I never would have thought could have been possible about how great this man was.
Yeah, he's talking about Theodore Roosevelt. Those are the Rough Riders behind him. Interesting that he spent so much time there. I did forget to go over this. Just in disgraced former CIA director John Brennan is panicking, suing the Trump DOJ to preserve investigation records as he seeks to throw out the probe. The deep state crook is furious. John Bolton first, you next. The lawsuit says Brennan is facing an investigation over whether he made a false statement to Congress and another probe determining if he and other officials conspired to undermine President
And the CEO
Trump.
who's done a
So that's where it goes. And then John Solomon had this to say. Oh, actually, let's go here first. So quadruple boom. This is absolutely huge. Follow me in this. It's worth it. This is the Supreme Court exposure operation as much as it is a senatorial pressure campaign. The official ruling was 6-3 against Trump's executive order, yet the constitutional wall beneath it stands only 5-4. That distinction is the D code. Roberts, Barrett, and 3 other liberal judges ruled that the 14th Amendment guarantees citizenship to children born here even when their parents are unlawfully or temporarily present. Kavanaugh supplied the sixth vote to stop the order while rejecting the majority's constitutional reasoning. In his view, the order does not violate the 14th Amendment. It fails because it conflicts with the federal citizenship statute enacted by Congress. 4 justices are now publicly on record that the Constitution leaves Congress room to restrict birthright citizenship. Kavanaugh then moved the pressure upstream by making clear Congress can amend 8 U.S.C. 140(1)(a), create exemptions for children born to foreign citizens unlawfully or temporarily in the country, and force the question back before the court. Trump forced the issue through the executive branch. The court exposed its internal fault line. Kavanaugh identified the statutory barrier and placed the legislative key in the hands of the Senate. The order was blocked because Congress left the law untouched. Now every senator owns that decision. Thomas followed with a 91-page constitutional foundation tracing citizenship through allegiance, jurisdiction, domicile, and the Civil Rights Act of 1866. The 14th Amendment debates and the limits of Wong King Ark. He was building the record for the next case while warning that this ruling may not stand the test of time because it devalues American citizenship. Alito translated the doctrine into national security reality. A mother enters long enough to give birth, returns to a strategic adversary, raises the child outside America, and teaches that child to hate the United States. Yet under the majority's ruling, that person remains an American citizen with the passport, entry rights, and political privileges attached to that status. Thomas built the record. Alito exposed the consequence, and Kavanaugh revealed the congressional mechanisms. Roberts and Barrett supplied the decisive votes, preserving the barrier. Now follow the latter. Citizenship establishes membership. Membership opens voter registration. Registration creates ballot access. Ballots determine representation. Representation controls Congress, and Congress writes the laws governing citizenship and elections. That is why birthright citizenship legalization or legislation and the Save America Act are separate rails inside the same sovereignty system. One determines who enters the political body, the other verifies citizenship before political power is exercised. Birthright legislation defines membership, while the Save America Act protects the franchise through documentary proof of citizenship, voter identification, voter roll controls, and election safeguards. SCOTUS has exposed both ends of the political power chain, which becomes a citizen, and how ballots are accepted and counted. Senators can no longer hide behind the court, presidential authority, or claims that Congress lacks power. The ruling exposed the fracture. Kavanaugh explained why executive action was insufficient, and the sixth vote identified Congress as the institution capable of changing the law. The ruling did not close the issue, it exposed the entire ladder. A 6-3 loss became a 5-4 constitutional fracture, a 4-justice roadmap, a 91-page foundation, a national security warning, and a direct legislative handoff to senators who must now place their names beside action or surrender. The order was blocked, the architecture was revealed, the pressure moved upstream. The Senate owns the outcome. Watch video and read below.
But Justice Clarence Thomas writing a 91-page dissent on why he thinks the court got it wrong. I am not sure that today's opinion will stand the test of time. The citizenship clause added greatly to the dignity and glory of American citizenship. Today's opinion devalues that citizenship. I respectfully dissent. Some on the left say that's not really what this is about.
There are folks who are doubling down on the idea that this country must be a white republic. Through a narrow decision, the Constitution stands, but we need to still be mindful of the motivation that is driving all of this in the first place, it seems to me. And Kavanaugh is at the heart of it, just to answer that part of it.
There is motivation at the heart of this issue, but the motivation is revealed in the numbers. In 2023, 320,000 babies, that's 9% of all U.S. births, were born to mothers who were here illegally or on temporary visas. And that number grew during the Biden administration. The U.S. remains one of the few countries in the world that grants unrestricted birthright citizenship. Justice Alito, as you see on your screen, the number of countries that do not have unrestricted birthright citizenship, that scroll could take minutes, as it's virtually every other country in the world. Justice Alito wrote about the national security implications in his dissent. He wrote, suppose that a person's only connection to this country is that he was born here to a mother who was present just long enough to give birth and then quickly returned to a native country. Suppose that country is a strategic adversary or enemy of the United States. Suppose the child never visited the United States while growing up and was inculcated with hatred of this country. According to this court, now that person is a citizen of the United States. He has a...
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but you know, the culmination of it kind of puts us into a totally separate light. SCOTUS handed Congress the key. The Supreme Court just moved the election integrity battle out of the courtroom and directly into Congress. Okay. The majority ruled that a ballot cast by election day may still arrive and be counted later under state law. Then the court placed the remedy in plain sight. The election integrity, voter confidence, and any national ballot receipt deadline must be addressed by elected representatives. Trump sees that opening immediately, is converting a judicial loss into a legislative forcing function. Photo identification establishes the voter. Proof of citizenship establishes eligibility. Firm limits on mail voting reduce the number of handouts between the voter, the carrier, and the election office and the tabulation system. Identity, eligibility, chain of custody, timing. Together, they form the foundation of a sovereign election stack that can be audited across every state. Third demand is the tell. The House passed Save America Act already contains proof of citizenship and photo identification, while its current language still allows mail-in ballots through additional verification. Trump has now raised the negotiating baseline and defined the stronger architecture he expects the Senate to deliver. I think we will soon watch Congress begin coming around. They will arrive slowly enough to preserve the appearance of randomness, one senator here, another there, keeping them guessing who will move next and when the remaining resistance will collapse. Trump appears to hold extraordinary leverage over Washington, whether that leverage comes through evidence, exposure, political pressure, or knowledge of where the bodies are buried inside the system. The pattern will be the same. He will reel them in one by one. The war language serves the same purpose. He is recategorizing election law as national security infrastructure. The legitimacy of government rests upon the legitimacy of the vote, making election security a sovereign duty. Naming the senators completes the pressure cycle. Procedural obstruction now carries names, votes, and political consequences. The court established the boundary. Congress now owns the solution. Trump is turning the ruling into leverage and forcing the Senate towards a single, verifiable, auditable national standard before the midterms. The court did not end the fight. It handed Trump the fishing pole. Let's see how this plays out. Yeah, he's fishing. He's a fishing. He's a fishing. Yep, just saying. So there's a lot more to what's going on than what we see. And then we got this going on. And this is an interesting Benny report. I heard a little bit about it, but I was not hearing any background or anything into this story until now. All right. And Benny put this out.
Mitch McConnell has been found unconscious and unresponsive in his home in Washington, D.C. An ambulance, an emergency life-saving device was requested in order to carry Mitch McConnell out of his home on a stretcher.
Now, I want to make a point here, okay, that he was taken unconscious on June 14th after a 911 call was made. My question is how many times did he vote since he was found unconscious and is still hospitalized? How many times has he voted? And what has he voted for or against?
Many eyewitnesses have now told us they saw. Senators are telling us about his condition, which is in total peril. Mitch McConnell has been disappeared and missing. He has been in a hospital bed. Nobody knows exactly where. And his staff refused to give the public updates. We now have the first responders emergency call asking for life-saving equipment, describing an unconscious elderly man who had collapsed in his Washington, D.C. home right next to the Capitol. Now, Mitch McConnell collapsing is not anything new. Here's footage from nearly 20 years ago. They kept this video from you. You haven't seen this. It wasn't widely shared. And the reason why is because Democrats wanted Mitch McConnell in the Senate. They needed a cuck, a rhino, one of them, to be leading the Republican Party. And they had a perfect man in Mitch McConnell, who with every step and with every turn, even in his waning days, I don't know if he's dying or not. I don't wish death on anyone. I don't wish harm on anyone. In fact, we have been the greatest friends to Mitch McConnell by demanding the only reasonable and humane thing, which is that he resign and seek help in a hospice or from medical professionals 24 hours a day so that this stops happening. Mitch McConnell does fall with regularity. He fell multiple times in the Capitol recently. He now is wheelchair bound. This is what it looks like when Mitch McConnell gets into a vehicle. Mitch McConnell, who cannot walk, most likely in men his age, Mitch McConnell's in like 85 years old, due to blood flow issues. They don't have enough blood flow, and that's why they have strokes. That's why you get embolisms. That's why you collapse. Your body literally can't function. What you'll see here is a female Secret Service agent who—
How are you feeling, Leader McConnell?
Who's probably 4'1", 100 pounds, having to help beleaguered, broken Mitch McConnell into his car. How pathetic is that? How sick and sad is that? What they do to these people. Mitch McConnell obviously had strokes literally on TV, on camera, had to be dragged away. And how long are we going to put up with this? Mitch McConnell just like blacking out. We knew this was happening, ladies and gentlemen. We knew this was coming. And now we know that Mitch McConnell may have suffered some type of horrible brain injury, unconscious in home. Here we go. Mitch McConnell found unconscious. EMS made a dispatch call and they rushed him to the hospital. CPR in progress for a cardiac arrest. Again, blood flow issues, right? This happened in the small hours of the morning. Mitch McConnell who cannot stand, who cannot walk. The EMS radio traffic. His staff say he's receiving excellent care. Well, nobody's seen him. In fact, the last time that we saw Mitch McConnell, I mean, look at this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. He's already turned into a corpse. He's barely there. And I don't want this. I want to make this very clear. I don't like Mitch McConnell. I want him out of the Senate. I want him to resign. I think he's the worst Republican to hold office in my lifetime. I think he could definitely challenge every other bad Republican for the worst Republican in my lifetime. This is inhumane on a human level. What is wrong with his family? I hate Mitch McConnell's family as much as I hate Joe Biden's family. Senator McConnell found unconscious. The last time that we saw Mitch McConnell was during a hearing with Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth was dragged into some empty hearing to be grilled by a bunch of members of Congress, and Mitch McConnell was clearly not sentient.
Thank you all for being here.
Baldwin, Shaheen, and Kennedy. Baldwin, Shaheen, and Kennedy still have questions. Wrap up after.
So he has to be ordered.
Hold here.
He needs to be ordered by a staffer for what to do. He's saying that there are other senators that still have questions of Pete Hegseth.
Yeah. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of time for a second round, so we'll get through everybody. And Senator Murkowski, I appreciate your taking over.
This is exactly what Joe Biden used to do. Do you remember how Joe Biden used to like mysteriously leave things and run away because he had crapped his pants, because he had a bathroom issue, because he literally couldn't take it? He had to lie down. This is exactly what's happening here. By the way, he just looks terrible. Look at his lips. You can see there's no blood flow to his lips. Why are lips pink or red? It's the surface of the lips, the blood flow, the way that the body is designed is to make sure that your heart valves are pumping enough blood to every place in your body. And this is why your fingers go white when they're getting frostbitten. This is why you start to lose appendages and color in your appendages when you're suffocating, when there's no blood, when there's no oxygen, when there's no churn of your cardiac system. You begin to go purple. An infant, for instance, will go like very purple or blue if they're choking on something or suffocating. Well, this is exactly what we see with Mitch McConnell. He's purple. He has something terrible is happening to him. Look at this. Look at the capsules bursting underneath. This is blood flow issue. The veins that should be pumping with blood have so little blood volume in them that they burst. They just break down when these kind of things happen. Anyway, it's awful. Mitch McConnell alive? It's been weeks with zero information. U.S. Senate shouldn't be used as a taxpayer-funded hospice care. Mitch McConnell found unconscious. His staff won't say if he's in the hospital. I just texted a number of senators, and I can tell you what's actually happening. So as far as they know, one senator tells me that he's starting to wonder if Mitch McConnell is actually dead. But although he's not sure if Mitch McConnell has departed, that he may think it's closer than we thought. The end is nigh. Another senator texting me that they were told that Mitch McConnell was recovering, that he wanted to return to the Senate, but his family has now locked him down. Okay. Real brave there, dude. Remember, this lady died in this. She literally died. She was 99 years old. This is how long these vampires, these absolute ghouls, cling to power. They die in office. We must have term limits. Set terms against the blackness of the hearts of evil men and women who just wish to hang on to power to destroy our country just a little bit longer. So you can see here, this is the call.
217C3.
That's what senators are telling me. They're saying it's close. And that the GOP is, well, effectively having to make plans. As I've said a million times, but I guess I'll repeat it once more. I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody. We'll never call for that. I only ever want everybody to live in peace. And what that looks like is not putting guys like Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden in power. It means putting them in a hospice house where they belong. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, subscribe if you agree.
There you go. Benny Johnson. Yep. All right. And then
And this week, we look back on 250 years of glorious freedom, and we took so much time and so much effort. And by the way, on July 4th, it's going to be approximately 107 degrees out. And I'm going to go and I'm going to make a really long speech just to show that I can do anything. It's going to be 107. But you know what? They also predicted the fight that we had 3 weeks ago was unbelievable at the White House. They said,
so it's just a clip of his speech yesterday. And he says, just as I promised, oil prices are plummeting fast and the gas prices at the pump are dropping too, but not as fast as they should be. As we approach America's 250th birthday, I am pleased to announce that a very smart retailer located throughout the Northeast is stepping up and wishing the people of Philadelphia a happy birthday. On July 3rd, the Freedom Fuel Network will be lowering gas prices at 25 Freedom Fuel stations across the greater Philadelphia area. This retailer is taking the lead and others should follow. They are doing this because they love the USA. We are proud to celebrate America's 250th birthday in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the birthplace of our very special one-of-a-kind Declaration of Independence, and where I won big in the presidential election. America has never been stronger than it is now. The gas prices will soon be back to record low prices Americans enjoyed at the pump before our very successful excursion in Iran. Happy birthday, America, President Donald J. Trump. And I guess this is what the gas stations look like. They got the red, white, and blue Freedom Fuel Network is what they're called. I've heard nothing but really, really good things about them. And yeah, so if you're in Pennsylvania and in that area, go hit them up, you know, hit them up. Matter of fact, hit them up for a whole lot and then send it out here. All right. I'm not even going to get into that one now. This one here, I am.
I have found the face of one of the most active Black Bloc masked Antifa members in the Seattle, Washington area. So I first remember seeing this Antifa member right here. She was one of the several people who approached my friends and I in Cal Anderson Park in the neighborhood a few weeks back, and many of them stripped nude. All of them made a lot of noise. They threatened to unalive us. They told us to unalive ourselves, and they told us that we are fascist and we're not allowed in this park or in the neighborhood, and we're not welcome in Seattle. Remember them?
Chud! Hey, did y'all come out because fucking bitch-ass Cho fucking said something? I just gotta know.
They are gays for Trump. They're LGB without the T. Just trying to enjoy the summer and not be a bunch of, you know, racist, homophobic, transphobic pieces of garbage. They want to be fascist. We're gonna run them out like fascists. Fascists don't belong in our city. I go out there as a medic to be there for my people.
If you want the full context of that day and everything that's happened since then, go watch my other videos. Long story short, that clip of that Antifa member approaching us as well as talking about us on TikTok gives you just a clear picture of kind of what we're dealing with here. The person's chosen to remain masked, to be anonymous so that they can go around and harass people and terrorize people. But this morning, I was going through old video footage. And what do you know? On September 26th last year, I was in Seattle and I happened to record this. I instantly recognized this man here as a man who has been involved in multiple different mob attacks, all kinds of harassment, stalking, that sort of thing. And, well, who do you think this is? That right there, that's the masked Antifa motherfucker that we met in the park that day. Again, has been involved in multiple similar incidents since then. In fact, a leftist, Bennett Haselton, I covered his story recently, he told a police officer in front of me the other day that he believes that this masked person was part of the attack against him. He's the one who was held down by the throat. They stole his phone, they maced him, and while they had him on the ground by the throat after macing him, they were kicking him and hitting him in the face. That guy? Yeah, these people, not good news. But I'm so glad that I found this footage this morning and I didn't delete it, because this is going to the Seattle Police Department, because this person is of interest in multiple cases. And I know that for a fact because I know multiple of the victims who, you know how good it felt stumbling upon this video this morning? I'm just saying. I hope y'all have a great night.
You know, and that's the thing, is these kids who are out on the, out on the scene, doing their thing, are, basically, yeah, they're doing good work. They're doing good work. I give them a lot of credit. And that one was.
I have found the face of one of the most active Black Bloc masked Antifa.
Is what she goes by, political creator and documenter, independent activist, America First, Dem defector, LGB scissors T, on the ground coverage.
Antifa members
done a great job. She covered a lot of things, and the thing is that they were things that she used to agree with, but then she began to see the insanity of it, and that's where things changed. So that statement that I read to you guys just a little while ago, okay, I want to play that clip, but I also want to go down here. I got one of Kaylee McEnany that really explains why I was sharing that message with you guys. Give me a second to find it here. And I thought that it would be a great way to expand on the conversation, the thought in the conversation about all of this crap happening with the things. So let's see here. Come on, it's coming up. It'll be here in a minute. This is this it here? Oh nope, that's not the one. That's not the one I want. I want the Kaylee McEnany one. Oh, there's Kim Clement, and then yeah, actually, this is all stuff that I wanted to bring up anyways. So this works out perfect. Let's see. We'll hit that one too. Yeah, we'll hit most of these going back up. Well, actually, I don't know if we'll get to them today because we're coming up on 3 hours here, but we'll get a little bit more. We'll get a little bit more, and where are you? Come on now! Oh, I hate it when I gotta like dig for it. Where is it? I could have swore that I shared it. All right. I don't want to get into the data centers. Holy shit, more details are emerging about Justice Amy Coney Barrett's book deal, and it's bad, really bad. On May 4th of 2026, Barrett spoke at the George W. Bush Presidential Center in Dallas about her book, Listening to the Law, Reflections on the Court and the Constitution. The event was moderated by Bush Center President and CEO Shiloh Brooks. Her 2021 book deal, reported as a $2 million advance, was handled by the literary agency Javelin. The same agency also represented James Comey for his book, Higher Loyalty. Javelin was co-founded by Matt Latimer, former Bush speechwriter, and Keith Urban, who served as Donald Rumsfeld's chief of staff for several years after Rumsfeld left office. Latimer and Urban are not Trump allies. They come from pre-Trump neocon Republican circles, both openly critical of Trump. Not to mention Amy Coney Barrett's father, Michael Coney, worked for 29 years as an attorney for Shell Oil, focusing on legal matters involving Gulf of Mexico offshore drilling. He was also active for over 2 decades in the American Petroleum Institute's Exploration and Production Law Subcommittee. Offshore drilling in the Gulf was pioneered by companies tied to prominent political figures, including George H.W. Bush's Zapta Petroleum and supported by Halliburton, where Dick Cheney later served as CEO. Given these documented connections, a multi-million-dollar book deal brokered by agents who have been openly critical of President Trump, who rewarded a corrupt FBI director that assisted in the presidential coup. Her father's long career tied to the oil industry and her participation in major Supreme Court decisions, Justice Amy Coney Barrett needs to be investigated immediately for potential ties to bribery and corruption. Okay. So we've been talking about the two will step down from embarrassment. Okay. And I'm going to take you to that right now. Damn, there's a lot of good stuff in here. We'll have to hit a bunch of this stuff tomorrow because I'm not going to be able to cover it all today. Here we go.
I change everything, for there shall be those who are in justice, and there are those who are in a strong position. I'm just hearing this now. In the highest court in the land, the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, 2 shall step down for the embarrassment of what shall take place. For I wish to place in the highest court in the land righteousness, and they shall attempt to put others in to endeavor, to reach their endeavors. But God says, hear me tonight. Hear me today. I have this whole thing planned out. That's how I change everything, for there shall be those who are in justice.
Yep. So there's going to be something coming down. 2 will step down, and I'm curious to know if one of them will be Barrett. And then Real as Fuck Patriot put this one out. He says, it's very interesting that Jerome Corsi was just on with Steve Bannon. Now this video is spreading again. I believe that was the purpose of bringing Corsi on. Watch this. And, you know, this is the thing, is that I have a feeling that this is going to be something. Here we go.
About 3 years ago, a group of generals came to me, and it was explained to me they were ready to conduct a coup d'etat. They're ready to move Barack Obama from office with military force. And then a few weeks later, I got another call and said that they were reconsidering. You know why they were reconsidering? Because they talked to Donald Trump. And Trump agreed that he would run. And they agreed that if he would run, they would conduct their coup d'etat as a legitimate process, rooting out the traitors within government. And that pact between the military and Donald Trump has held. As we've been interpreting and watching, and Alex has been following QAnon is military intelligence and close to Trump. And the intelligence we're getting really is a lot of the inside script. Now, everybody says Donald Trump is going to lose. He's going to be out of office. He's going to be impeached. You watch CNN, MSNBC, they're throwing a party today. And all the 20 people watching them across the nation are very enthused. Donald Trump will not be removed from office. He will not be removed from office. And in the counterattack he's going to launch, one or two facts that could change everything. Get a report from Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, who details the corruption within the Department of Justice. Donald Trump is right. Maybe we should tear down the FBI building and start over again. Yeah. And if you take a look at the depth of this corruption, it's pervasive. Since George H.W. Bush, the bureaucrats who have stayed, including these SES bureaucrats who are there mostly permanently, they're globalists. They don't believe in America anymore. They think they're smarter than America, smarter than the founding fathers. We ought to revise the Constitution. There's a very simple word that describes what they are. Traitors. Traitors. It's a capital crime. And I want to predict to you here today that when the tables turn, Donald Trump will be invoking military tribunals. And even Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are going to be facing treason charges. It will not end, and Donald Trump will have the courage to do that. Every time it looks to me, I've said this about Donald Trump, I've known him for decades. I said, Donald Trump always looks like he's going to lose until just before he wins. Always. He's always looking like he's 1 inch from being, losing all his money. 1 inch from losing this deal or that deal. Everything Donald Trump has done in his life has been a success. And in the final game of this, I think Donald Trump will reduce the bureaucracy. I'd say 95% would be good, maybe 100%, because the bureaucracy isn't specified in the Constitution. There's no discussion. There's no article about the bureaucracy, which means it can all be removed. Fire them all. And I think what we can have is a rebirth, as we say, of freedom in this country. But I want to say 2 or 3 things about Zuckerberg. Someone has come forth as a Silicon Valley insider, anonymous, and has been writing me extensive emails, which I've now been able to validate. And the story of Zuckerberg and the others is this. Facebook, all of the major ones, Twitter, YouTube, Google, every single one of them is a creation of the CIA. They were funded by the CIA, and they were there. And by the way, they are all considered dispensable. Zuckerberg may not realize it, but he's in the ejection seat. And the button will be pushed and he'll be ejected out. But the real power in Silicon Valley is the infrastructure of the internet. It's the Oracles. It's the Microsofts, the Sun Microsoft systems. These are the tracks, the railroad tracks on which the internet runs, the bridges, the infrastructure. And the people who are really controlling Silicon Valley are the Larry Ellisons. These are the people you know less about because they're not the front men. Zuckerberg is dispensable. Eric Schmidt is dispensable. Google is dispensable. They'll just replace it with another one because the real godfathers are the Larry Ellisons and the others. And who funded Larry Ellison? The CIA, the military-industrial complex, moving in with Lockheed and the others wanting the creation of a new generation of electronic hardware for the military. And in the process, and that started going back into the 50s. What happened is along the way, they realized with social media, they could create something where we would all give them all of our information freely about everything about ourselves. People even post pictures of themselves naked, which they keep forever. Every click you make is going right into the intelligence agencies. And then that data is being profiled and given to the New World Order, sold for money, for advertising and marketing. And by the way, Zuckerberg may have his own rules and his own, we're going to protect privacy, but don't for a minute think that they aren't still collecting the information. They've got it all. It's archived. It's every phone call you've ever made, every email you've ever made. And people are stupid enough to put these devices in their homes, which can record everything they say. Facebook can track you even if you're not a member of Facebook. They can all do all the tracking anywhere you appear on the internet, and that stuff is archived forever. What we've got to do is we've got to reclaim the internet. We've got to have an internet Bill of Rights, as it were, to impose First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment. We've got to do this through Congress, and I'm here to tell you that before Donald Trump is done, the internet will be 100% regulated, or it will be broken up. Because Donald Trump understands the threat to our freedom. The threat to our freedom every one of us face with this information is so massive control that never occurred to George Orwell or Aldous Huxley that this could happen. But I'm here to say that in conclusion of all this, the same conclusion in the book I've just written in Killing the Deep State, it ends, in the end, Donald Trump wins. And never forget that in the end, God wins. Thank you.
I want to do this right here. Oop, that didn't do it. That didn't do it. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. There we go. That's Miss Vinderseal and her husband, Ren. Yeah. And those are the t-shirts. Yeah, they got them. So why is Q being brought back up right now? Right now, at this time, why is it being brought back up? It's what, coming up on a month now that they've been talking about it, and more prolific messages are coming out, pointing to a lot of different things. Are more people now becoming aware of Q and beginning to catch on and gain a little bit of understanding in the midst of everything else that they're seeing going on? I think so. I think so. I think that's what's going on. Yeah. But yeah, they came out really good. Honestly, I did not think that they were going to come out looking that good. I thought it was going to be more of a, an iron-on patch kind of thing. But that looks good. I was like, wow. Yeah. That came out good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, so I got a bunch of stuff I got to get done today. And we've been going for a little over, how long we've been going? Almost 3.5 hours. Yeah. Well, I'm going to take you out with our outro safety meeting song. Yeah. Because if you weren't here at the beginning, you didn't get to hear it. But yeah, the brownie called 911. Okay. Yeah, I'm telling you, this is, yeah. Remember, God loves you. Jesus loves you. I love you. We'll see you again.
Yeah. My buddy said, take just one. They're homemade, son. They're strong. I looked at that little square and laughed. Said, how bad could this go wrong? 20 minutes came and went. I said, this ain't no fun. So I reached right back into the pan and accidentally doubled down. 30 minutes later, the room began to sway. I looked over at my old hound dog. He looked at me like prey. I called 911 on a pot brownie. Thought my boots were glued right to the ground. I told the lady, ma'am, I think time has stopped. And my heartbeat's making funny sounds. She said, sir, just breathe. You're gonna be okay. We've heard this story more than once today. Turns out I wasn't leaving Earth at all. I just underestimated that brownie, y'all. The ceiling fan was telling jokes. The coffee pot looked wise. I apologized to my recliner for believing all its lies. The dog looked completely normal, which somehow made it worse. I started bargaining with Jesus over homemade dessert. I called 911 on a pot brownie. Thought the moon was parked outside. I asked the dispatcher, be honest now. Did I somehow forget to die? She chuckled just enough to say, sir, I promise you'll see another day. Drink some water, find your couch, and maybe skip dessert from now on out. Now every family gathering, when brownies hit the plate, somebody always points at me and says, remember, wait. I smile and raise my coffee cup, cause patience is the key. The only thing that almost got me was my own curiosity. Don't call 911 on a pot brownie just because it's taking way too long. You can't rush a homemade edible, even when you think it's doing wrong. Take it slow, let time do what it does. There's no prize for eating too, because the funniest stories usually begin with somebody saying, these brownies ain't kicked in. Public service announcement from a guy who learned the hard way. If your buddy says, only eat one, he's probably trying to save you from becoming the next family legend.
All right. I guess I'm not going yet. I got to get you guys the links for these. Give me a second. I've got to pull this up. And I need a fresh window. And let's see. So, that's a good question. I did put them into the YouTube, but because I don't have, because I'm not monetized, my links pretty much have to be highlighted, copied, and pasted in order to get to. But give me a second here. Copied and All right, let me go here and do this. And when I put them into chat, they should come up as links. This is one of the places. I think this is the one. This is the one that I only have like two things done up so far. And now that I know the quality of things, I will start doing more. I was going to use Sticker Mule, but somebody tried to do a scam through their messaging service, and I won't. I will not put my banking information into something like that that they could turn around. And it was like they demanded I had $399 in the account and stuff like that when they messaged me, and I was like, yeah, if this is the kind of mail that I'm going to be getting from this service, maybe I should not be using it. However, they were convenient. So both of did those come up as links in the chat? Yes or no? Can somebody tell me? The Printify one, I know I have done in. I did some coffee cups. We got it in white, and then there's with a small badge size ox mustard seeds on the front, and on the back of it is the full size. Then there's coffee cups with a couple of the songs on them, and then the Man in the Middle song that I did, the cover of that album is on here. This one here has got the logo on both sides. This one here has got two different logos that I had designed. I'll be putting more stuff together and stuff like that. But yeah, it was primarily the ability to give you guys tokens of remembrance. Everybody can use a good coffee cup. I've been drinking out of the same coffee cup for going on 2 years now. I think it's just about 2 years. And I actually ordered one of my own coffee cups because they did come up. They came up as links. Yeah. So if you look at how I do the info down here, you'll see, and if you just copy and paste, highlight it, copy, paste, or just right click on it after you highlight it, and then it says go to that, and it'll bring you right there. Boom. And it'll open it in a separate window so you can keep doing whatever you're doing. So, all right. With that, I will see you guys again tomorrow. Listen, I can't tell you enough how much people need to stop trying to carry the cross themselves. Just try to be as much like Christ as you can, and learn everything that you can. Use your mind, use your love, use your ability to see the world a different way. We manifest good things by speaking them into existence. So the more positive we remain in our comments and our actions on a daily basis, the more and better that life gets for all of us. And I want people happy. I want people to be able to enjoy and experience life. With that comes hard work. We've put in the work for 10 years and we're tired, but we haven't given up in any way, shape, or form. So when you start feeling down, turn on one of the songs, get a laugh, get a message, get what you need to hear. That's what they're there for, and why I write these songs, there's only one way that I guess that I could explain that is to just play it for you. Yeah. So let me see if I can find it. I didn't put it there, did I? No, I didn't. I didn't put it there. I'm like trying to get these things all in a loaded into StreamYard so that I can just hit play anytime I want. And it usually works, but you got to shrink the size of them and all that other good stuff. Give me a second here to find this. And this is actually a cup too. The scene for this is actually one of the cups for that coffee cups that I did up. I like it. ChatGPT makes me look pretty. I don't feel so old when I give it to them and give them a picture. I feel 10 years younger. Yeah, I do. Well, for a minute. And what are you doing? Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Duh. I'll be okay. There we go. With that, I will see you guys tomorrow.
Legacy isn't leaving proof that you suffered. It's leaving proof that suffering didn't get the final word. Every song I write isn't about staying in the past. It's about helping somebody else see what was hidden in plain sight. And learning that we can become better humans than the ones who hurt us. Then, legacy of peace. I'm an old man now, with stories in my hands. Pages that were written where a frightened child once stands. Moved from town to town, carrying a heavy load. Learning how to walk 1,000 miles on broken roads. Some folks ask me why I open up those doors. Why dust off memories and lay them on the floor? It's not to stay imprisoned in the things I've been through. It's to shine a little light for someone passing through. I don't sing to relive the pain. I sing so truth can break the chains. I sing for people who've never known what hides behind a quiet home. If one soul learns to see what was standing in front of me, then every scar has found its place, leaving a legacy of peace. The child can carry burdens far too heavy for his years and still grow into someone who can rise above his fears. You don't have to become the hands that caused you harm. You can build a safer world with open hands and open arms. The world may never know the roads that some folks walked, or understand the silence and the words we never talked. So I gather up my memories and lay them in a song to remind another heart they're stronger than they know. I don't sing to relive the pain. I sing so truth can break the chains. I sing for people who've never known what hides behind a quiet home. If one soul learns to see what was standing in front of me, and every scar has found its place, leaving a legacy of peace. I don't want my name remembered for every storm I had to face. I want my songs to keep reminding love can still outrun the hate. The little boy I used to be still walks beside the man we see. And every day we both decide to leave more peace than pain behind. I don't sing because I'm broken. I sing because the truth was spoken. I sing so younger hearts may know. Compassion is the way we grow. We endure, we learn, we teach. We build a bridge for those we reach. And when my voice is finally gone, may peace continue carrying on. Every song, every word, every grace, leaving a legacy of peace.